Bro, the VOD watchers are gonna be like, ah, yes, he started the stream. Let's keep this part of the stream open. Oh my god, what in the monster was that I just heard? Yes, hi. Evening. It's 5:30 p.m. at my place. I'm gonna be honest to say something. I am sleepy, actually. I am like sleepy at this current point in time. But the thing is that I am sleepy because I have not been having a very good sleep schedule. In fact, I've been sleeping in the afternoon for the past few days. You wanna know why I've been sleeping in the afternoon? It's because I am hosting an event for my school. So it's an orientation for exchange students. And then I've been hosting it for the past 2 days, so today and yesterday. And it starts in the morning, it ends in the afternoon. So because it starts so early in the morning and I've been sleeping late, I ended up like needing to flip my sleep cycle because I end up going to those events without sleep. And yeah, yesterday I basically slept in the afternoon and then now I'm here. Uh so technically I'm already starting to go beyond the usual number of hours that a person's awake, which is 18. But it's not 24, so I'm technically fine. But I feel lethargic, that's for sure. The thing is, I have the perfect treatment to keep myself awake, which is to drink anything caffeinated. So I've had a good cup of matcha. So there's a unique thing where it's like if you drink coffee, people will say that coffee is short term. You'll get a big boost at the front and then all of a sudden you'll crash. And there's always the saying that if you drink matcha, it lasts longer. And I'm a very big matcha lover. So basically this stream will go on until wherever the uh matcha effect dies on me, all right, which is probably going to be 3 to 4 hours from now. But it's also good because then I'm flipping back my sleep cycle. I'm still hosting something tomorrow, so yeah. I okay. There's a thing about this stream that it's been labeled part one. I don't think it's labeled part one on Twitch. Yeah, it's labeled part one on YouTube. So the reason for that is this review is probably going to be very long. But I personally think it's going to be very long. Um, it's just because I think I have a lot to say about Enfield. So I did think about the way I was gonna make this video, and there's a chance that you'll like when this becomes a full-on video, you might see me in, not just one outfit for the day. You might see me in like 2, 3 outfits for all I know. I think I need 2 streams in order to make this, because I need to go and like recheck on the things that I discovered in the game and to see which parts I want to actually talk about. So yeah, okay, basically to say, like those of you on YouTube, you need to understand something. This is a unique stream because it's basically an editing stream, right? You will see how it is for me to make a video. You will see how stressed I am when I make a video. And say for those of you on Twitch, if you've been tuning into my editing streams, and yeah, you've known I've done quite a lot of this. So this time I just combined YouTube because I think you guys would be interested. Anyways, I have 2 ways to go about making this video. I have not finalized exactly which one I'm going for. I will see as I'm streaming and think what I'm gonna choose. One is I can yet or like basically do it very stream style, so like stream VOD and then cut the stream VOD into like a video piece for you guys to watch. And then if it's not that, then what I might end up doing is I will most likely what I'll do is I will do the proper filming stuff. So what I mean is when I decide that I have a footage that I want to film myself, then I will go into my YouTube mode and speak in that manner. It's very likely that I'll do the second option, which is I won't make it so like streamlined. Oh, it's like the problem with doing the streamline into a video is maybe some people will think of it as it's very lazy to do that. So I hope to still have a bit of like professionalness when I make this review, basically. So yeah, I'm very eager to make this video. Like I think some of you guys are maybe even more excited than I am to see me make a review. But I think my excitement now is like a lot more higher because the genuine thing about why I haven't made an Enfield review is I can't figure out. Like I think it took many months basically ever since the test ended to think like what exactly am I supposed to do to like make a difference, in the community? Like, what am I supposed to say that isn't something that people have already heard someone say, right? And every time I'm like, okay, let's take one foot in. Let's make the video now. Then all of a sudden I back away because I'm just like, oh, I feel like I'm just doing the same thing. And then there's also some people who would think to themselves that, oh, if I make a very, very positive, full on review, this guy must be biased. This guy just likes the game or likes the company and has nothing else that he wants to say. It's almost like I'm promoting a content basically. So I thought a lot about the way to come across in this video. And I think because of my reaction to Tobo recently and how I see like the conversations have been going in our AK community, I finally decided I know what I want to do for the review. So I'm gonna very briefly explain now, and then afterwards you guys will see me how I do the editing for the day. I feel like nowadays, again with or without Tobo's video, I think a lot of people are talking about Enfield as if they I don't know for what reason, so many of us are very focused on giving advice of preventing Enfield from becoming more Hoyo-like or Uwa-like, whichever way that you see it. When I say Hoyo-like, it's basically all the three games, and then Uwa is, the other open world game, right? Everyone keeps talking about how Enfield is becoming more like that, and then if they try to advise, they are advising about how to be less like that. But then the problem I personally have when you tell, the devs, hey, I want you to be less like them, I think for one, the devs obviously kind of know that themselves. Like, I think Hypergriff has a backbone to realize they don't want to just copy someone else, right? They love to be unique. They love to be novel. That is something that is on their mind. But when you tell them to be less like these bigger game titles, that does not mean it becomes more AK. Do you agree with what I'm saying on this part? Like, Arknights to Hoyoverse is not a spectrum, right? They are very, very different things. You can't just say, oh, become less like Genshin equates to, you are now Arknights. I feel like a lot of the conversations that is being steered in the community right now is not about how the game can be Arknights, or remind people the feelings that we get in Arknights, right? So this is basically what I think will be good for our space to know about, right? Like for myself, as someone who's played a lot of AK, and now that I've seen Enfield, where are the places that they can work on to give our AK players the feeling that, oh my god, I want to play it now because I see the AK in this game, right? It's not just saying things like, oh, make sure the story has familiar characters or familiar teams. It's also like, how do you make this whole open world combat, 3D combat, to still somehow feel like, wait, it's not tower defense, but yet the feelings I get from playing AK is in this, combat, real-time combat, slashing game that I get to enjoy. So yeah, just join. Why review before the release? The reason why I want to review before the release is, as I've mentioned, the things that I see in the beta is not going like, no matter how many betas the game have, the things I'm about to say are things that you will never see in the beta. So at this point, it's only going to be talking about things that if they do it on the release, I think that will help the game to actually be a big banger. So yeah, what brought you to Enfield is how it reminds you of Xenoblade. So the thing about, I will talk about that when I'm going to film this review, okay, about the whole slowdown combat thing. But this is a very, very full review. I need to script a little bit about the different parts. So one of the things I told myself is that the way that a lot of you are going to watch this video when I do edit it cleanly and whatnot is very likely I will have very different chapters. It's quite similar to how you see FlyK's review, where he also had 3 chapters. I'm going to likely have 6 chapters, actually. So, off the top of my head, I will be talking about combat, gacha, exploration, world design or story design, um, replayability, and oh frick, I can't remember the last one. Yeah, I'm gonna be talking about all the different aspects of the game because I think the and base building. Endgame content is replayability, basically. So I will be covering like every different aspect. They're all very different in their own way. So I will try to give advice towards each of them. And the way that people can watch the video, basically, is that am I planning to watch the part? It's okay. I would watch it, but I'm actually gonna watch it after I'm done with the whole review. Because I don't want it to influence what I'm gonna say anymore. The thing is, uh, I'm gonna make it in such a way where when you guys watch this entire thing, you guys can actually choose which chapter you want to watch. So what I mean to say is I will try to arrange the video, but in truth, whatever I'm gonna say doesn't have to be watched in order. Like I think for those of you who are concerned about various aspects of Enfield, what you probably should do when you watch my video is if you're most concerned about the combat, you're most concerned about the base, you jump to that part of the video, then you hear what I'm gonna say about it. Then you start like pick and choosing. You jump back and forth if you want to reorder my video, but I will try to order my video in a way of for those who want the full experience, okay, maybe you watch it in this order type of thing, right? Because who's to say the combat is more important than the base, right? Like typically there are YouTubers who do things like the most interesting part is the first thing they say, or the most interesting part is the last thing they say, right? But I really can't figure out how I'm going to do that because I think a lot of things in this game are very much on equal value in truth, right? They all needs to be cohesive in order to make it work out. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of editing. Unfortunately, I won't do it in such a way that it's like very documentary and you see like so much footage. Cause I think unlike FlyK or Tobo, and now that the whole beta has ended, I can't like, oh, I think of something that I want to say, and then I go and specifically film that footage. So if I'm gonna film like show footage, I'll be showing footage of the streams that I had. But I can't go finding everything, so you will definitely see me more than the gameplay. Of course, I will still find the stream footage for exactly the things that I want to talk about, but then yeah, I'm most of the time chatting, so it's gonna have a very podcasty talking feel, very similar to the recent Enfield video that I made. Also, very, very quick thing. I feel like there's some comments that some people made about the recent Enfield video that I made. Uh, I don't think it's ideal that I say it here. There's maybe some of the things I will say it when I make the video. But in quick summary, I do see that some of you share a bit of the same sentiments towards me, where you feel like those videos, after some time, it becomes so like, I think this is something I highlight. I don't think Tobo is necessarily trying to like anger the community or like rally everybody and whatnot. But unfortunately, with the nature of like the way that he presented his video, the thumbnail, the title, and everything, I just see of it as I'm not bothered if it was something as a strategy to make everybody in the world watch, but whatever there is, like uh when you do that, I just find you, to me at the very least, all right. However, I think there's a crew of people who say that he's doing more good than harm. I see of it as more harm than good. When I say there's more harm than good, I don't think that means there's zero good. The idea of trying to make people talk about the game, to suddenly get interested in a game or discuss about game, who's to say that's a bad thing, right? Yeah, let's have more people talking about it. But my basis is, do you want everybody to truly talk about it, especially those people who have never played the game yet, right? Like, I'm on the bit of the stance of why do they deserve to have a say if they haven't played the game, And of course, also I can't be saying they don't deserve a say, right? Because there are some people who already, as mentioned, they're interested in the alpha gameplay. They're not exactly interested in what they see in the beta, right? They are also as important. But I I think all these sort of things that I feel, I will try to highlight it in the coming video. You all will hear it in this stream basically, because like I said, this is an editing stream, so you will see me say some of the things. So yeah. Okay, I will get into filming and scripting right now. All right. So you might see me online today, and you might also see me online tomorrow to film everything. If I somehow magically say everything that I want to say today, then that's pretty amazing. I am expecting this video. It's a miracle if this video is 30 minutes, but my honest opinion, I think this video might be an hour. You know, and I think I'm fine with it. You know, let me try to give you all the things that as like a lot of you really want to hear about. By the way, I'm not hard scripting. I just need to make sure that the points that I want to say are within the video. So yeah, okay. One last thing, because I'm streaming, right? If any of you have very like hot questions, you want to distract me from me scripting, right? Or you hear something that I say and you don't like it, you know, feel free, chat, all right? Tell me about it. And then you'll distract me for the next 30 minutes and I will not actually film anything after you give me a hot question. Like, I think I saw one of you saying, is Enfield playing it safe? No. Enfield is the riskiest game I've seen in today's gacha time. Gotta be honest. Who's the one that's playing it safe, I might say? Um is there a gacha game that plays it safe? I don't even know, actually. Like, I can't say any of the incoming gacha games are actually exactly playing it safe, but if anything, Enfield is the least, like the last answer that you will say to that question. So yeah, NT is playing it safe. No, but what does the problem becomes? What does the word playing it safe even mean? Right? To be Genshin is not playing it safe. So yeah, this is a beta review. Um, okay, I need to explain something about this. This review is a beta review. Uh, I don't know how to put this to words. Whether it's alpha or beta, and you know, having experienced the combat, the base building, and whatnot, I think this is just simply a review about what seems to be, you know, the direction that they want to take, the various aspects of the game. I'm not here to question whether I think it's good or bad. Let me just also kind of like put that across. Because I think Hypergriff has the toughest job over here, where the way I name the development for Enfield right now is this is a game full of compromise. But it's not compromising in the sense of like, oh, trying to, you know, as some of you might say, play it safe in order to be successful, that kind of thing. But no, it's a game of compromise in the sense of, one, it sounds so weird when you tell a developer, oh, please make it for a niche community. And I only want a subset or a small crew of people to play. Like, imagine saying that to a content creator or YouTuber, you know, but maybe some of you might say that to me, you know, no, I don't want you to pick content for other games. I only want you to make AK content. But like the whole point of a person who makes videos, if they do want to branch out, is hey, if they want more views, why is it so wrong for them to get more views, right? When that's the whole premise of what it is. It's the same for the developer. If a developer wants lots of people playing, how is that a bad thing? You know, but yet at the same time, I'm not against the idea of let's still keep some nicheness. I'm more so for the idea that a niche category of a game can be something that a lot of people gradually grow to enjoy. So I will really hope that I try to explain my points, okay? As far as possible, again, the whole driver of this video is let me tell you how to have more Arknights in this game. So I'll go through that with you guys. Okay? So let's get on with it, shall we? Let me get my script up. Again, it's not a hard script. I never have hard scripts. I just script according to points that I want to say. Oh, I don't have dark mode here on Opera. That's so annoying. Okay, I need to add my extension. Because I have dark mode on, what do you call that? Google Chrome. See, I had an Enfield script before, but now I'm going to scrap this script because I realized what is a better way to talk about things. Okay, let me write out what are the chapters of this video first, and then I'll run through with that. Okay, broad. All right, combat, gacha for sure. Need to talk about this. World exploration, story. I will lump them together. Replayability. There's a chance this won't exist because it's also connected to this, but no, I think I'll separate it. What else did I say? Combat is quite a few things, by the way. Character building, um, real-time fighting, and enemy design, right? What the hell else did I want to say? I am a blurhead. Am I? Wait, Oh, yes! Grinding! I have to talk about this. Base. Okay, you know what? Yeah, that's basically base. Base and grinding. Uh, Gear system, I will say is combat. Endgame is replayability. Rogue mode is replayability. Art direction and animation, it's likely world exploration. I will cover it. Actually, these are very big. Let me look at. Okay, there you go. Okay. Let me explain very. Let me start from gacha. Okay. Hoyo rates not acceptable. Okay. The problem with this sentiment is there are inherently less higher rarity units than Arknights have. And banner cycle maybe may have longer intervals. All right. That is not to say, but percentage chance doesn't need to be disastrously low, right? No, let me re-explain this. Percentage chance can be lower. Percentage chance for a 6-star can be lower, but not to the below 1% extent, right? But the whole point that I feel that people need to understand is the Arknights gacha system, right? Over here. So in the case of ours, it's 2%, right? 50-50, no carry over guarantee. But in many players' instances, most of the time, easy to get on banner unit. You know, there is a single copy guarantee if you lose for more than 150 pulls at this point of the game. The funny thing is that the game actually has another guarantee. So this one is something you all didn't know. None of us knew, okay? The game has always had a single copy guarantee system before the 150 that we see in the game. The guarantee was 200, but the game never says it. So when the news came out that they were going to introduce the 150 guarantee, and they say, oh, we're reducing it from 200 to 150, I think everybody who read that fine detail got a shock of our life that AK always had a guarantee system. But we didn't see it. Because they didn't write it as well. So whatever it is, yeah, if you lose more than 150, it's that. Now, another thing for people to note is more copies are standardly is not the right word. Let's just use the word usually for now. Of greater importance in the prominent gacha games, right? Like in the case of HSR, Genshin. I don't know about ZZ by the way. If like more copies is an important thing over there, you know, where the stats or abilities feel greatly inflated from copy to copy. Arknights doesn't have that. There is an increase that is welcome, but never game breakingly needed. Right? So there's that. What do I think about higher difficulty, same boss fight, more attack? Can we go to that when I talk about combat? One by one. Your follow through so that when whatever you want to say, we try to keep to the topic. So if you have something you want to say about another topic, it will help when you say that, and then I'll see if I need to add that or respond to what you ask. So yeah. You think Duke should allow for new playstyles? No, that is crazy. No. The Duke's allowing for new playstyles is game breaking. Both are game breaking. Playstyles and stats increase. But however, Enfield does do that. But they did it on their lower rarity units. They didn't do it on their higher. But who's to say they won't do it on their higher in the future, right? There's increase, there's welcome, but never game breaking needed. I think one of the things that people misunderstand is other bigger gacha games run constant limited unit banners that needs you to wait a long time to try pulling for them again. Arknights doesn't. A new unit enters a standard pool unless limited. Right? Playstyles means new synergy options. No, I disagree. Because then people will be convinced to pull. The problem at hand is that's not what people want from Endfield. If you're an AK player, why would you want new playstyles or new type of gameplay to be locked behind getting more of the character? Right? You think of that in AK sense. If potentials meant skill tree feels a lot more different, that's crazy. Right? Then you'll have a big FOMO. If you want an Endfield to match the feeling of AK, there should be as little FOMO factor when you get multiple copies. But yet, at the same time, it shouldn't feel so insignificant that you also don't ever want to do a copy. It's like for a free-to-play player, it should feel comfortable that you have a single copy. And then for the pay-to-play players, they should still also feel rewarded that they have multiple copies. I like to object. Colonel Banner doesn't have Kelsey. It does not appear if she doesn't read that. Huh? What's that? Yeah. Then there's also a thing where certificates are collected after gacha pooling. and you can directly buy highest rarity units with that on rotation, or uh get more pools, right? These same easy to get units even after banner end feeling must, well, not saying must, but should be introduced in Enfield, right? I think a lot of people complain. A lot of people who don't play AK thinks that AK. There are some people out there who will say that AK gacha is shit because there's no guarantee and whatnot. But it's like if they pull enough or like they play AK enough, they don't seem to realize that it's not that bad, you know. So they gotta understand that you're gonna be pretty okay. Big gacha has certificates. Correct, correct, correct. So the thing is, a major difference is other gachas have a small fixed rotation. No new units ever become purchasable like this. But AK does it, right? AK doesn't mind that if the unit has lasted for a year maybe, or a year and a half, or 2 years, then you can use your certificates to buy them. So yeah. Um there's that. So this is the first thing, that we need the same feelings that we get in AK. Like, I think people complaining about the percentage chance to get characters in Enfield is pretty fucking stupid, just because it's already a smaller pool of people. You know, if the percentage chance stays high, then yeah, free to plays forever wins, but pay to play also no longer need to pay. You know, it's that, again, you need the balance of everything, right? You need a situation where those people who are willing to pay will feel a little bit of an itch to, you know, put some money but not a lot, and then those who are free to play don't feel so shit about not paying in the game, right? Because they can still easily get their units. So yeah. By the way, what was the percentage chance in Enfield? Does anyone remember? Was it 0.8 or was it 1? It was 1, I think, but I might be wrong. Anyone who embedded it? Oh, it was 0.8. Okay. Enfield also introduced the guarantee, where they did the 50-50. Eh? No, they didn't do 50-50, right? Wait, is Enfield 50-50 carry also? I also can't remember. Or is it like fixed number of pools that you get the character? 80, 50-50? 120 guarantee. No, but do they have like guarantee 50, like if you lose a 50-50, the second character you get is the guarantee on banner unit? I don't think they did it, right? Or did they? No, some of you are saying no, they didn't do it. No, so it's only set number of pools get on banner unit, right? Oh, but people were complaining about the no carry forward of pity into a new banner, right? Yeah, I personally find it a little bit awkward, right? Like if you don't have enough pools, for what reason you put till maybe say 79, you know, your one-off pity, you just somehow you're free to play, you cannot scrape for that last pool. You don't even want to pay like any money for the final pool. Then all of a sudden when you go into a new banner, because there's no carryover, pity carries over. Oh, the guarantee pity doesn't carry over. Guarantee pity doesn't carry over. Normal does. Oh, then in that case, no. My response to this is a bit controversial, right? Must guarantee PT carry over? A bit weird, right? The whole point of the guarantee PT PP. The whole point of the guarantee pity is to reward people who bother to save their pools. Like imagine you do your Ash banner, right? If you didn't save your 120 pools when they already told you, hey, if you want extra security, you do 120, right? In order to get that character. It doesn't need to go somewhere else. So yeah. Um but I don't disagree though. If Enfield really follows AK's gacha system, there might be a bit of a collector's nightmare. Right? Those full pot chasers in that game, in Enfield. Because that we have full pot chasers in AK as well, right? And the great thing about chasing full pot in AK is it's kind of cheap, especially because the gacha rate is high. You know, even though we have 50-50 losses in AK, you can still kind of like easily get it. But then, now if you do lower rate in Enfield, rough time, no? Will collectors be angry? Will collectors protest enough that they're like, fuck this game. I can get full copy. I don't want to play it. But yet the game does not emphasize that you need to do it. You see, that's the weird thing. Like if Enfield can maintain the same vibe or nature as AK, where potentials feels nice, but never so significant that you must get it, then the question becomes, can a new person who's never played AK before and they come into here be okay about, oh, I spent some money, I really want full copy, and then all of a sudden they realize they spend whatever they set as their budget and still don't get full copy. Can they be okay? But then, yeah, then it also comes to the thing of you can still get the character somehow as an off-banner unit in the later part of your game. So like, they just want to flex or feel good about having full pot, right? Because a lot of time full pot is an expression of money. Actually, that's kind of what full pot is in AK. Full pot is never an expression of skill. Full pot is an expression of money. Actually, that's an interesting to say, right? Full pot in AK is not an expression of skill. It's just an expression of money or hard work, saving pools, right? I think a problem with full copies in Genshin, in HSR, is there is this unfortunate scenario where the people in those communities thinks of full pot as, wow, this is a better player. But in my opinion, I don't think that's the case, right? Oh, they cleared the stage because they use this full pot character while other people don't, right? Does that mean the normal skills full? Hell no. All they did was they just paid more money and all of a sudden they win. You know, but I would want to think that the people in those community don't entirely think that, oh, having full pot is a sign of skill. But you can get what I say, that it feels more that way, you know, than in the case of AK. So yeah. So you all see the points I'm writing for just gacha alone, and why, like, God, there's already so much to talk about in one go. But yeah, I'm gonna have to film this a few times, man. What a stressful thing to make review. Do we know how skins will be obtained? No, we don't. I will talk about it. Okay, you know what? I need to do that, right? Cosmetics. That's really, really a lot. What if this video is 2 hours instead? Okay. I'm just gonna write these points first. Whichever that I want to film once I finish writing all my points, I will go back to it. I'll review the points again, and then I will start the filming for each of their parts. Combat is the heaviest one. I'm gonna do base first. Let's go with that. Yeah, I still have to talk about weapon banner. Correct. You guys are absolutely right. That weapon banner is. How do I? Oh, how do I? Actually forgot how to pull back the. How do I pull back the tab? Hmm? 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 I'm so boomer. Oh, I did it. It was shift tab. Okay. Yeah, weapon banner. I need to talk about this. This one give me more time to think about it. Weapon banner is the difficult one because it's a cool system, but it's because we don't know what the gacha, like the free pools and the paid pools will be like, that it's very hard to discern whether this interesting new way that they are doing it is actually good for the game or not. You know, um, my wait, I'll say one point here. I really don't want this game to go into this must get character weapon to really boost that character. Of course, it can be the significant one, but I want alternatives to also feel good. You get what I mean? Like, I genuinely find weapons super freaking fascinating. If anyone really delved into the weapon of the game, you will realize that in the beta, yes, there are weapons for the specific characters, but they also have weapons where it wasn't for the character. I mean, you see that also in the case of like HSR like cones and also other things that you play. But I want it to be a case where it doesn't feel wrong to use like those non-signature weapons, and instead it even looks like a different gameplay. That apparently because I've equipped a different weapon, suddenly I can do something different. So this is my biggest concern. I don't want the nonsense of, oh, apparently there's only one correct answer. That's it. As long as they do that, awesome. What the fuck is my friend saying? I need to bend all the way down for someone. Huh? What? Sorry, guys, I just read out my group chat. What nonsense are the hell? What are my friends saying? Okay, we will move on from that. Anyways, where am I? Okay, base is a fascinating one because the problem with base is talking about the significance of uh base base to combat. Okay, here's the thing about base and grinding. I do want to talk about this is a very big word. I will try not to use this big word, but the philosophy of why base building is a thing, right? Which my personal answer, after having played both alpha and beta, is that people don't seem to realize this style of grinding in open world is vastly different from the others. You know, you are getting materials while offline, right? Sorry, you are getting materials while offline. So the whole point about it is that by by spending less time on mindless grind or running around the world, you can focus your time on other content that you feel is better to do. So what I mean to say is if you're looking forward to Endfield, especially because of the world, especially because of the combat or the story, the whole point of Endfield is to minimize your time on the daily login. Oh, I need to kill this monster. Oh, I need to get this material and whatnot. It's all automated. So when you it's basically saying they can put more emphasis to the content that more people are possibly getting are very interested in, right? The actual good gameplay and not regular enemy stuff. So This is the good stuff. But one of the problems I find with this whole like, oh, let's automate everything is once you have automated everything, then the question becomes, does base building stop? Right? Because there are also people who's looking at Endfield and thinking, I really want to play this game for the base sake. Right? But at a certain point, when you have supposedly built out your base, then what do you do? Right? So one of the things I also want to mention is base building feels too simple. But casuals are invited to play this game. For sure. And then for those people who say, I don't want the casuals to play this game, I think I said this in the previous stream. Why gatekeep them? You know, this game becomes an entry point for people who were never interested or knew nothing about the simulation genre to want to play more of such games, right? The people who've never played Factorial, Satisfactory, and whatnot, maybe because they never played the game. Because all those are paid games, right? There is no. Maybe some of you might name something that I'll be surprised by, but to me, there is zero base building game that's free to play, right? Unless, I don't know, you crack the game, but in truth, there isn't. And like a lot of them don't exactly have a low price point. They're all considered mid-range when it comes to the price to pay those games. So for many people, they just don't buy it because they don't want to waste their money. They don't want to try that, right? But people need to understand that just like how AK might look suddenly like an entry point for people to get interested in Tower Defense, Enfield is also becoming an entry point for people to get into base building. So there is a favor here that, in a sense, what Enfield is doing. You know, but then it comes to the problem of, even so, can it not be too simple, right? It should still feel like something that is good. One of the things that I find also an issue is sweatiness or optimizing should not feel like a pressure for players. So this is something that I don't think people think about too much. This is a personal aspect that I have. That is, you all might have seen the game has a 10,000 capacity limit on items, right? So when your base is very optimized, okay, let's just put some assumptions here. The amount of materials that you can get, right, can hover anywhere between. Okay, for the high tier materials, it's very slow, right? High tier materials can be 6 per minute. But there's also those that are like 50 per minute, 100 per minute, right? So you take 10,000 divided by that. And some of these things will take you just 2-3 hours to mix out the capacity limit, right? So one of the things that I find is this game does not exactly pressure you to necessarily need the best space. To me, I find that important. Where, you know how everyone kept talking about the blueprint copying and whatnot? I don't think that they need to have the blueprint copying. And the very reason that they don't need is the game needs to come to this sort of understanding that you won't be punished for not building the best base ever. Even if you have a slower rate of production of things, it might just mean you take a little bit longer to get the same amount as someone else. But the same amount as someone else, it's like, in truth, right, why does a player need to have 100,000 of this item? Because, for example, if you say material for gear, right, at a certain point, you will be able to build all the gear. So the person who's sweating about the base might suddenly have a free flow of gear by the time 1 or 2 days. Then for a player who's a little bit slower, they don't need to get all the gear, right? Because in truth, we don't even need the full collection. Maybe when we first start out, we just want to try out 1 or 2. We're not so adventurous to do it all. So the fact that even though we might take 7 days, 8 days to max out the capacity, even the amount that we make in 1 or 2 days is more than enough for us to experiment what we want. So to me, I do feel like there should be a space for the casuals to not feel like they need to hyper sweat. But there comes the problem of the game currently doesn't have a space for the people who want to sweat. And I wonder about that a lot. So one of the things that I will point out is the fact that the space constraint results in hyper optimal base that once you reach there, you don't quite backtrack or do anything else. Right? That was my state in Enfield, where once I suddenly can fund all the outposts, then like, yeah, what do I do? They can implement the weight limit system. Yeah, but for what? If you realistically don't need, like, if you realistically can't spend 100,000 material in the game because there is not going to be any currency exchange that has that, like, then why? Because when you play a base building game, I think this was pointed out by that FlyK review as well. When you play a base building game, unless you're trying to show off your stats in, like, I don't know, Twitter or something, I don't think you really like the feeling of hoarding your materials, right? The whole joy of a factory game is to see your materials continuously crunching into whatever is your final output that you really want, right? So that you can sell or keep the cycle going. So the trouble with Enfield is a lot of the materials end up being at max capacity. They sit there and then you're just like, what do I do? Right? They don't have a cycle. So the cycle that the game tried to create now is the thing of outposts. Right? Outposts, which is also the grinding part of the game, where if you keep serving the outposts, they'll feed you credits, and then you can use those credits to buy more materials. So this is one of the ways that they're trying to keep the cycle going, where you basically feed to the orders, and that's what you try to strive for your bases when you try to optimize them. But then when you reach to the optimized state where, yes, I'm fulfilling the quota at the best efficiency possible, then it's just like, what's next? There is no what's next element to this already. So I see this in two ways. One, the other game content have got to be amazing for even the base enthusiasts to be okay about waiting for the next region's new base mechanics. Two, they need to implement something that may actively encourage players to change their base, maybe weekly or bi-weekly, but it's more so a want to do than a need to do. All right. So what I mean to say is, it needs to be a case where, because I finished building the base, I'm happy that I finished building the base. I'll just wait until, Hongshan, whatever is the next new map to appear, because every new map is about new base mechanics, right? To keep the difficulty to rise, to allow for more elements, and then afterwards, you gotta build up your post over there. So if people can be comfortable to just wait for like the next update into it, right? Then there's that. There's another funny thing they can do. I have a third suggestion. Create an endless base game mode. What do you think? I don't think anyone suggested it like that. But then, now that I think about it, like how when you play factory games and then you have challenges or like you have stages, so like campaign. No, it's not base sandbox. It's not base sandbox. It's a bit different. No. You know like how we have IS, right? So IS is the roguelike game mode, correct? But it's not roguelike. It's not roguelike base because that's very weird. You don't call a factory game a roguelike base, right? It's just base. It can't give you actual mats that come out of it. No, 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 no. It could. It could. They can reward the system just like IS. It can't influence the main game. No, it can. You just do. So let me explain this a bit more clearly. You do a game mode where it's not in the current world, right? They TP you into, you know, another very very big landscape world. So when you're there, then you'll start having like a campaign. You know, stage 1, fulfill this order. And then what they might even say is, you know, they might limit what you can use into your base. You know, they might have different conditions, and they might even have a timer. Right? Achieve this base in a set time. Then you once you complete that level, you proceed to the next level. You proceed to the next level. Do you get what I mean? They could even make it a giant freaking game mode where they can do it just like RA, as some of you say. Where like you when you start your game, you have 10 minutes to build your base, and then you have to build your base to feed your unit's gear. Right? Then apparently next moment, you got to fight enemies, you win, then they'll say there's another raid incoming, continue expanding your base. Do you get what I mean? Like, base could be endgame, but it doesn't have to influence the like the regular world that you're in. It can be a side game mode in our massive game of Endfield that can really help those people who want to sweat about base to have that space to sweat about base. That a casual doesn't need to feel affected. Do y'all get the idea? Does it? This I don't think people talk about the base like this as an idea, right? It's very AK like to create a game mode out of their mechanic in order to make things happen. This can also help the tower defense part of it. Correct, right? So what can happen in a sense is, you know, maybe during this whole game mode itself, you don't have a tower. You can't bring anything in. You start from scratch. They're saying you have 10 minutes. We have a raid incoming. Build your base now with the conditions we set. At the end of 10 minutes, you better have towers surrounding your base because people are attacking you. Right? Does that settle the end game problem? What do you all think? I feel like it would, right? Where a casual doesn't need to do it. And a casual doesn't need to do it because it's just like IS. The rewards are permanent. You just play the game whenever. They update in patches. They just implement new things. Problem solved, right? In a very AK-like way. So, yeah. I think that's the best idea. I should say that in the video. Damn. I'm thinking. You can have a practice simulation on how to build the base, infrastructure, to conquer the zone and planet. Yeah. They need tower ammo. There's tower ammo. So, yeah, exactly. Like, they can build the tower, then maybe the mission is the fact that they can't connect it to electricity. They are forced to, you know, charge the towers by batteries. And battery has one of the hardest formulas in the game. Right? So, yeah. So for those of you who just came in, I'm just going to reiterate one more time. Probably the last time I'll say this, although it's only second time that I'm saying this. The whole premise of my incoming video for Endfield, I feel, once again, is I don't like the fact that a lot of people are giving advice to Endfield in a way like, one, I feel like AK players are not talking about Endfield like an AK player. Sorry to Aero Turbo, but that was why I was pissed with him. Because to me, if you're an AK player, there are better suggestions than remove dodge. It's you have a premise. How do you make that premise still feel like AK? Right? Then the next thing is people need to understand, to be less like Genshin is not. It does not mean that it is more AK. That's just crazy. The two fundamentally different games. Our suggestions instead should be more about how do we maintain the AK nature of the game. So that's my whole point. That I want to talk about within this video. So yeah. Um. God, wait, guys. Should I be doing this as a giant video or should I just do it one by one? Wow, the base is so good to just do it as its own piece. Right? It's so loaded. Because I'm gonna have a lot of big ideas in every single segment. One by one, farm content. Here's the thing, I respect the farm content, but as a person who watches YouTube as well, all I need to make sure is I'm not farming as slot. Alright? I want to make sure I'm giving your quality. Combat also deserves to be separate, man. Combat is crazy to talk about. Long videos. Yeah, but here's the thing. What if each segment ends up being 30 minutes long? Right? Might as well break it up. No? Huh. At least I'll be less stressed as well. Because if the video is very big, right, I'm gonna take forever to post the review. I'm very tempted to talk about the base first. I think. It's either I'll talk about the base first or the combat first. In my video. Yeah, like if it was split. Okay, I will get to this later on. Okay? Let's write out everything, then I'll decide how I film this video. Okay? You watch a 5 hours long video over and over again. That's rookie numbers. Yeah. Okay. Oh, this is the one that I'm gonna sit here for like 30 minutes and really, really think, right? This is like everyone's biggest concern. Oh yes, something to say. I think some people harbored on me saying that combat is a small aspect of the game. And then a lot of people say, that's crazy that you say it's a small aspect. And then there's also people that tell me, no, I wanted to play Endfield because of what they showed in the alpha playtest. Like, that was the type of gameplay I'm looking forward to. Because a lot of people say that it looks different from the current games in the market. So that's why they were so interested. But the thing I'm trying to say when I say it's a small aspect of the game is, to me, it's a small aspect in terms of the identity of the game. Yeah, I'm not saying, oh, straight combat, it's not important. Combat can be boring as shit. No. I know it needs to be entertaining. But I just find it crazy that I don't know why all of us are pinned down on combat like as if it's everything that determines a game's brand. It could be, but it doesn't have to be, right? It's like, why did we turn the whole base building excitement of Enfield into let's just talk about how crap the combat is? Is what I'm trying to put. So, yeah. I need to clarify. I'll see if I do when I talk about it in the video. Okay. You have a feeling because a lot of players don't care about base building. No. I do genuinely think there is a hearty number of people, even non-AK players, who are really looking forward to play Enfield because of the base building. No, I might even say there's that number of people that I say are interested about base building is way more than the number of people who's interested about the combat. Because the thing is, the people who wants that Xenoblade style is a crew of people, but I don't think it's that large. Because again, our gacha market doesn't have that. Right? Hoyoverse players don't quite go saying, oh, I really need this slow combat. They kind of don't care. They just want to make sure that it's fun. So, yeah. Okay. Anyways. Oh, where do I start? This is a very, very difficult topic. I'm not going to order my points, okay? Whatever that comes to my mind, I'm just going to write it down first. First off, I need to put this out there. Alpha was boring as shit. Not because it's a slow combat, but you can say it's a slow combat that had no tactics. Okay? I'm going to be fucking harsh here. I don't know what the hell Turbo Smoke. I never clarified this with him. This is the thing that has been saying, like he's been saying in his videos. I didn't want to make a review for Alpha because I don't know why he keeps saying it's more tactical. There was absolutely no tactics in Alpha. Some of you might be saying, oh, there was slowdown, there was range. No, the thing is, you know what was the strat in Alpha to like optimize and play? You use the skill, you plan your range, right? Boom, right? Then you have a skill cooldown. Yes? Then afterwards, you got 4 other people, so you try to use skill again. Boom, range, okay. Then you know, okay, you're done with all the skills. You know what we have to do next? Run in a circle for 20 seconds. Skills back. Boom, boom. Run in a circle. Boom, run. What the fuck tactic is that? I will crash out when people tell me Alpha is tactic. Alpha was so fucking shit. It's crazy. It's so crazy. I don't know, like, the people who watch Alpha really don't understand how boring it was. It's like saying everyone that likes Xenoblade. No, but there's a difference. Okay, I'll tell you what's the difference between Xenoblade. Not that I've seen it, like plenty of Xenoblade combat and Endfield combat. Okay, this was stated in 5K's video as well. The problem with Xenoblade and Endfield is that Xenoblade's enemies are naturally less aggressive. So they are more standstill. They're not the type to like suddenly throw 10 abilities at you. You get what I mean? You can focus fire. It's almost like playing, I might even say Xenoblade monsters might feel like a bit closer to a Monster Hunter monster, I feel. Where you're just focusing down on one, you know? And, but even then, Monster Hunter has the whole dodge and stuff like that. You know, but you can also be running around in circles if you want to, right? But you don't have skill cooldown as well. And it's so weird. The thing is just, it suits Xenoblade's gameplay to have the whole slowdown thing. But to me, right, it really doesn't suit what Endfield is going to try to do. Like, you all know how when you play AK, and you all think about the best bosses, the big crazy fights that we have, okay? Now think of all the big crazy fights that we have, you know, like Walk in the Dust, the EX8, where you have Emperor's Blade. You turn that 2D into 3D, right? You have 5 Imperial Strikers coming at you, you have 1 Emperor's Blade coming at you. They're all gonna fuck your shit up. Now imagine you play that in a slowdown fashion. It doesn't look cool. To me, right, you imagine all the best boss fights in AK reanimated into Endfield in 3D. Do you all think the slowdown gameplay can necessarily do it justice? I personally think no matter what, it is challenging. People need to realize that. Like, I'm all in on the faster one simply because I think it will give so much better impact to the feeling that you get. The problem when you try to reanimate like AK's best boss fights as maybe Enfield, right, is what I stated in my recent video. So now imagine, like, actually you think about the way that you're playing AK right now, right? Oh, Emperor's Blade coming in, Emperor's Blade coming in. One Tau, silver skill. Shing, 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 shing. You know? Wait. Skill coming in, enemy, match. Just click skill. Boom. Like, nothing of that in Enfield. It looks a bit, it doesn't feel quite right to me. Do you agree? Like, I don't care how much we ask for a niche. I just feel like I don't even think it will appeal to the AK market. I personally think, right, if they continue with that, it will appeal to no one. It will appeal to a subset of people. Okay, it's not no one. But it really doesn't look fun. You know. Here's another thing. I think the slow down gameplay works if you are playing the game for a paid session. So what I mean is, you know, like how Xenoblade has a set number of playing hours, like 30 hours, 40 hours. And yes, you can be precise and whatnot. I don't think it's 30, 40. I think it might be 80. But whatever it is, Neptunia is also slow down. Because I play Neptunia myself, right? Turn-based, you line up your operators, you plan the skill, boom, right? Um, there's tons of game like that. So to me, like when you only need to play this for 1,800 hours, I think it's perfectly fine. Now you do this for life, right? You do this for 5 years in a 3D environment. Oh, I I will get bored, man. I don't think I can take it. So I'm not saying it's not fun, but I personally think the fun will die. So that's to me. Okay, it sounds very harsh, but I'm just gonna say Alpha was just so bad. You know. So I don't know what's with all the Alpha people smoking shit like it's more tactical than Beta, because it really wasn't. Okay, the skills didn't even have synergy. The only cool thing was the skill had aim. That's the only thing that I would say. Yeah, okay, there's tacticality. You know, I get to aim. Yeah, that's nice, I guess. Anything apart from that, hell no. Zero strategy right there. So yeah, what was the element ops thing? What is this element ops thing? The increase in speed of the game makes you lose interest somewhat. This I find very fascinating. Also, I thought it was boring, but I also want to understand some of your views. Like, why do some of you say that the speed up is boring? Is it because okay, one of the reasons I hear that people say the speed up is boring is fuck me, it looks like every other open world game right now in the gacha market. You think people? Oh, some of you are saying alpha people are not saying that alpha was good or not. It's just what it could have been. I have a solution, by the way. I will tell you my solution in a while. Okay, that can satisfy both the alpha wanters and the beta wanters. It's typical hipster behavior. They found it cool or better before it got more out there. These people are living in the dream world. You had the option of slowing down and having the time to think. Here's the thing, you want to do that for every enemy. Okay, you take this I want to slow down into Genshin right now. Imagine everything in Genshin that you're doing right now is you click on the scale, you hold the scale, a range pops up, and you hit. So you think of your daily grind in Genshin. Do you want that? But during more difficult bits, here's the problem. During more difficulties, sorry. Difficult bosses, you want to have the slowdown, the aiming. But then you're grinding also. So what's the compromise here? Imagine every single basic enemy you play, you have to do the slowdown. I really don't think people are thinking about the feeling you will get when you play the slowdown mode. Like, it for me, right? I want Enfield to be a game that has the same vibe that Genshin does. Wait, let me explain to you what I mean. I really feel sad that AK as a gacha game is not a game that I can happily and excitedly talk to my friends about. I want Enfield to have that same effect where I head on to my friend, I tell them about, hey, there's this cool new boss, and they all can easily get excited about. you know, and we can all talk about it all together. The trouble with this whole slowdown thing is my very big fear is it's gonna throw a lot of people off. You know, this is a personal thing. But then again, it's very weird if some of you don't have that same one for me. Do you not have this one? Is it just a me thing? You don't want Enfield to have a situation where every cool new boss appears. You can have as many people talking about it as possible. It makes the game feel vibey, right? Lots of people can enjoy. But yet at the same time, I know some of you are saying, you guys are like, oh, I don't want the game for everyone and all that kind of nonsense. But the thing is, why is that so bad? If the game is genuinely good, don't you want everybody to play it? Yeah, we learned about community from playing AK as well. No one gives a shit about you when you talk about AK to your friends. Yeah. I want this game to be a game that allows people to have skills, to show off their skills, but I also want people who don't sweat about the skills to still feel fun. You see, that my problem with Genshin is I think Genshin has no skill. Shoot me. Same for HSR. Right? Sorry for those of you who play those games. If you think I'm being so harsh and I'm talking crap, but just my personal take. I think it's those games can feel very casual. But the thing is, AK is very fascinating to me. That AK is a game that a casual can play and a mad sweater can play. And I hope that Enfield can give me that. Both a casual, there is a space for the casual, there's a space for the real nerders. I'm in the nerder camp, okay? I want all the hardest shit I can do. But I also want this game to feel like those people who want to give it a try, gives it a try, and actually wants to stick around for what's to come. Like ZZ. I think ZZ has a unique charm that ZZ took a very different approach from HSR and Genshin, in my opinion. That the selling point for ZZ to me is not the combat. The selling point for ZZ, I think, is the characters. ZZ basically took the Azure lane method. I don't mean that they sell like, oh, skinful characters. Not that. But they do so well on character design and story that it becomes the reason people get very attached to the game. You know, so a lot of people play ZZ as a way to just take their mind off, because it's a very simple, like, fighting sequence game, right? Dodge and whatnot. Use your skill real quick. Bam, 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 bam. Ah, you have to dodge. Then you keep that going. My brother plays ZZ every time in his room, you know, and I always ask him about it, like what gets you in ZZ, and he just says it's just so easy to pass time. You know, but a lot of people who play ZZ won't say like, oh, I play ZZ because it's a game for me to sweat. ZZ is almost like a game for you to chill. For a lot of the people, especially casuals. You know, so yeah, but it's a very different thing from what Enfield is going for. Enfield is definitely not trying to be chill. Enfield's trying to be, you wanna show skill? Let's let you show skill. But of course, it doesn't want it to be all about that. So yeah. Okay. Your reaction speed is also shit, especially when there's many things to do on screen at once. So having slowdown will give you a way to avoid frustration with that. No. I see what you mean. Yes. I think there's some people who share the same sentiment as you. That the reason why they wanted a slower combat is there are just some of us who naturally like to think before we do something. You know, so a game giving the space to do so definitely feels like you can plan a bit better. So I don't think I can dismiss that when I talk about the combat as well. That there are people like that that look forward to the alpha gameplay. Maybe a toggle. I did explain before, a toggle is very difficult to code. You know, one last thing. You need to think about the mobile game and the controller controls aspect. What's the way to tap on a skill right now in mobile? You want to use skill, you tap. You want to get out, you hold. Right? So if there's a toggle now where you can aim, What the fuck is the phone control? How many joysticks are there? Right? You need a movement joystick, then you also need an aim joystick. Hell, right? Very cluttery, isn't it? Controller players even worse. What the fuck are you doing? You suddenly need to like, oh, you want to be in this mode, you press this button, you hold this button, then you toggle around your joystick. Wait, you suddenly want to do a different mode, you hold the other button, and then you toggle. Like, it will get very messy. The last thing you want is messy controls. Messy controls can kill a game. So, yeah. Okay. Anyways, I said my piece, okay? Call me a hater or whatsoever. Alpha was just so bad, man. Alpha was a disaster. What propaganda did people eat to think that Alpha was good? Um, Beta, to me, had a lot more technicality. However, questionable. Not in the sense of like not significant or let's just put not significant. Not in the sense of not significant. But there's so many that it's unclear what to follow. So I'm going to explain this part very quickly. You can consume items in this game. You can dodge in this game. You know, you can use the combo attack sequencing to get through the game. And then you got defender class that can parry. Then it becomes like, huh? What the hell do I do? Right? They give you a lot of options to like get across a problem. So I personally enjoyed it. I didn't think it was an issue. And the thing is that I find when they have so many of these things, when you play a game like this, it almost becomes you might have a freedom of choice of what you want to do. You know, like how in AK, we all have our preference of what we play, right? Some of us want to go guard heavy, some of us want to go sniper heavy, right? When I play Enfield, it felt the same. If you want to go food item heavy, you can. If you want to be very, very like skill focus, sequence everything together, combo everything together, you can. You want to not optimize the combo stuff and just dodge, 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 you can. But they never fixated what to do. They might fixate what to do, which I'll explain that later on. But in the early part of the beta, they give you a whole range, right? It's like you have a toolbox for every battle. It's up to you what tool you want to use, right? And then there's also the idea where you can use towers also, right? So it's very strange that you have a variety of things to do, but then right now in the game, it's also almost a bit like when you have the variety, what exactly is considered significant to actually play with? So, yeah, like, hmm. But to me, oh, wait, by the way, there's also a problem where some people say, Cookie, don't mistake team building strategy with combat fighting strategy. So, a lot of people harbored that when I kept saying the strategy in the game, I'm only looking at the team building part, where what you have to do is, you know, you try to sequence everybody, then you can get all the combos well. But I think one of the things that people don't quite understand when you're actually in the moment of fighting is that I might say, personally, there's a better game that I feel like none of, at least for me, like, none of the reviews I personally have watched have mentioned these games. I feel like Enfield feels like Street Fighter or Skullgirls. Have you all played fighting games? So we have 4 characters, right? The thing when I do Enfield is, for those of you who played Street Fighter or Skullgirls, you know how when you do special moves, you can't just button mash. You have to do A, B, X, Y, A, that type of thing. You need to sequence, right? You need to learn, right? That sequence. So you know, like, even in Street Fighter, you have 6 buttons. So in the console. Then what you have to do, if you want to do a certain move, you can't just press that button, right? You have to mix the button. Or then you have to press one button and into another button. You understand what I mean? I can just button mash. Correct. I think one of the things that people don't realize is you cannot fucking button mash Enfield. If you're button mashing, you won't win. So it's because you can't button mash that I personally don't understand what people mean when they say there's no tacticality. It's like the thing that I see with Enfield is you end up needing, when you got your team already, right? You need to realize what is your sequence of movements. You need to learn, this is this is one thing I can do. This is another thing I can do. This is another thing I can do. So now that I'm in this fight, which set of moves that I've learned do I want to use to start the fight, to continue the fight, right? So I don't know. I genuinely don't know how to argue with these people if this is what I tell them and they tell me there's no tactic. Because if you tell me this is not tactic, is fighting games not tactical? I'm so confused. We don't do this in the other gacha games. Like, you don't do that in Wuwa, you don't do that in Genshin. If you don't do your rotation in order and dodge correctly, you can't win too in Genshin. Yeah, it's correct to say that as well. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, that's the odd part, you know? Is that really that different from Genshin or Wuwa when I say you learn a sequence of moves? Because at some point when you play Genshin, you're also learning a sequence of moves, aren't you? But is it tight that you must follow that sequence of moves when you're playing those games? That's when, because if it is tight in the form of like say Genshin, oh I must do A B C D. I don't do A B C D means it's wrong. No, there's also one more thing. How many variety of the set of moves are there? You know, when you're playing like Genshin or Wuwa, how much sequences can you make out of your 4 or 3 characters that you can do? Or do you end up just templating? Oh, supporter go first, then this guy, then that guy. Because one of the things that I find with Enfield is that, okay, this is a problem. I'm not seeing enough variety in terms of like the moves or the sequences that you can actually learn or do within the game. Some teams are good right now, but the problem with the beta was that there's only 14 characters. So with 14 characters, I find that the possibility of the team is a bit short. So like there isn't enough of the, oh, if you run this 4 people, I can actually do like 6 different set of moves or 7 different set of moves. You know, right now I think the best is like 4 or 5. I'm just gonna, if I give them a benefit, like not sorry benefit of doubt, but if I be kind to them, I'm gonna say 5 is like the maximum. But 4 was kind of what I see in Enfield, where you can learn these 4 sets of, you know, do this or this or this first. And yeah. Genshin is a bit flexible, but it's more strict to highest DPS. I really want to talk about this. Okay. This is our sequence of whatever I'm saying, now that you say about the highest DPS, okay? Don't give me higher number uh no. Don't give me attack inflation is what I would say. The reason why HSI has HP inflation is because there's attack inflation of their every new character. Understand? You all can definitely see that. The thing is, the beauty about AK as a character design, whenever they release the new stuff, is that our characters, yes, sometimes has attack inflation, like, you know, we got a Whistle moment. I don't mind seeing a sudden Whistle in this game. Because, you know, at some point, you're going to get those casuals. If they really, really find this game hard, they're going to be like, oh, I can't defeat anything. You know, give me a brain dead character that I can use. You know, use a single skill, no sequencing of anyone. Boom, they're killing everything. You know, that might end up happening. All right. But 1 or 2 characters like this, sure. Here's the thing that I care a lot about the character design for their kit. Okay. This is my alpha beta hybrid solution. All right. I don't want new characters to just look stronger. I want new characters to show me new ways to play. So let me relate this to AK, especially in the past 2-3 years of AK. You'll see how we've received units like Shu, Nymph, Yu, Phantom Altar, right? The Alchemist class, Tin Man. The crazy thing is that we never label like, oh, every single new unit in sequence as, oh, stronger than the previous one. But we've always talked about it as, wait, they're doing something or a gameplay or a style of, putting things on the map that I've never done before, right? Escalon as well, right? So again, you think of this as you turn 2D into 3D. You think of your current AK operators into a 3D stance where they have the same skills, right? To me, that is pretty cool. Like, what I don't want to see is, oh, everyone just brandishing a longsword every time we get like a guard. I want a situation where the new units aren't like desirable to be pulled because they're stronger. The desirable be cool because they look fun to play. Do you understand what I mean? So I've said this before that one of the opportunities they could have done is if you all saw the Angelina side story that was in the game, right? One of the very cool things about Angelina's side story is that it's the only time in the game where you can fly. I was so shocked when I played that quest because I was just like, whoa, I'm bouncing up in the sky together with her. And then a part of me just thinks, oh, wouldn't it be so cool if like, if Angelina also has something to do with flying? She technically does. Her skill makes her fly and then like just stand still there for quite a bit. But imagine if her regular movement was actually her flying around rather than just standing still on the ground. Right? To me, that is very attractive. It's not more powerful, but it feels nice that I'm doing something different. Is it like Genshin? Every new character, a whole new region? Because each region has its own unique mechanics with their characters. Where the region benefits the characters? No, not quite like that. No, so let me also explain another thing. Imagine we have Mostima in Enfield, right? You will all kind of say Mostima's not very strong in AK. Cool, global slow, right? Now let me give you an imitation of Mostima in Enfield. Mostima can slow down time in AK, right? What if I get a Mostima-like character where her skill sets is different? She's the only person that will let me aim. She's not necessarily stronger, but she lets me aim. I can have the slowdown. I don't need it on every character, but now I have a character that lets me feel it. You get what I mean? By I want to have this feeling where different characters can actually do different things. I think one thing I found very interesting is Yvonne is very different from like the other 13 characters that's within the game right now. Actually, no, Snowshine is also very different. Right? Snowshine is the only person in the game right now that can parry. And we don't know how many more people in the game will actually parry. Right? Arclight is also the only person who can give me SP recovery within the game right now. Afrina is the only person that can land a tower and then retrieve it back. The tower might cause some situations, but if you retrieve it back, it's also causing damage. So what I mean to say is that to me is how you can really differentiate the character. You don't just focus on all their auto attack. You focus more on what their playstyle is. Right? It's almost like I might even relate this to League of Legends. Where everybody's ability is kind of like different, right? Azir in League of Legends, where Azir has the whole army or like little minion army pushing the people back and they fly back. I don't need that in like say all the characters. Just introduce that type of new playstyle from character to character. You get my point, right? Introduce an operator that spawns a tower. Introduce an operator that can give me taunt. Is what I want. You hope it doesn't power creep. Yeah, but no. You think about this power creep word, right? Is Hoshiguma outer power creep? Some of you might say, oh, it power creeps herself. But like, Maybe in terms of all the strong defenders here, Hoshikuma Auto is just another option in the game, right? Where, oh, you want to give everybody invulnerability for some time? Yeah, okay, sure, let's do that. New playstyle? New playstyle shouldn't be character specific, is what I'm saying, because it doesn't appear in AK. New playstyle should be from character to character, where even a free-to-play player can easily get all these new characters each time, and to feel the fun of it. Each heroes have a broken part of their skill set. Whether they're broken or not is one thing, but I just want it to be a very refreshing experience. Here's the thing though, I don't play Wu-Wa or Genshin enough to know. Is it refreshing every time a new character appear? I can tell you I feel zero refreshment when I see HSR. Because I play HSR more than those two. And I also haven't played ZZ. I don't know what their new characters are like whenever they release. Sometimes, do the characters do cool things that someone else doesn't do and it makes you feel like, oh wait, this is fun? You say yours, Ura feels refreshing. Issue Ura is mechanic at zero depth. So you guys are saying if the character does something different, it's not for a new strategy's sake. It's just flashier. But that's not what I want. I don't want flashy. I want someone who can let me have a new strategy every time. A new thing that can manipulate the map or the way that I'm fighting them. What about lose 100 HP per second enemies? You know, yeah, I want a geek in the game. Hypergear should allow the disable the stupid flashy skill animation. Oh, I would want that. Yeah, I don't want to see that out all the time. But the thing I want is, yeah, I want the same AK character design philosophy into Enfield, where every new character is not about, oh, should this new character be stronger than someone else? It's does this new character make me do something in my team that I never did before? Right? The fun, interesting thing I find about every single 6-star in the game is they all do play very different roles from each other. Right? I know that's not geek, that's Hodra, I know. But like, yeah, I want someone who can bleed and do a skill. I wouldn't mind that. You know, the thing is, Helga is fundamentally very different from Zola, right? Zola is different from Kazemaru. Hey, Kazemaru is Doorkeeper. What am I talking about? Who the hell is the Musha? Akafuyu, yes. Like, if within all our branches, you realize that every person isn't exactly like each other, right? Maybe similar role, but just really different playstyle after all. So that's really what I hope to see. The old units just have to feel fun to use. Correct. I want to make sure that the old units have a gameplay that if I just haven't played it for a while, I can just go back to it. You know, I don't want a situation where the old units feel irrelevant. This is something that I think Enfield really needs to try to do very well. Because that's one of the reasons why we like AK a lot. That old units don't feel irrelevant. You know, ZZ Series Nicole, wait for a while. ZZ is still a fresh baby game. Give it 2 years. I'm not saying it will happen, but we see it happen in the 2 other games. So, yeah. Okay. One another thing to mention. Tacticality does not just come from character kit. Enemy design is so important. All right, I don't know how hard I have to emphasize this. That everyone keeps yapping character need more tactic and whatnot. Yeah, but if my enemy is just a reskin fucking mask wearing guy in Genshin of a different color or like they do the exact same thing, what do you mean there's tacticality? You just fight the same way. You know, I personally didn't feel like I did play Genshin from the Mondstadt to Liyue, and I think barely into the third region or something along that line. I never felt anything special about the monsters. Yeah, they look different, but I don't think I fight them any different. You know, people need to know that AK enemies are something different. You know, every event we play, we suddenly look at an enemy and what they do, and we're just like, oh god, I've never seen a guy like this before. What do I do against them? Right? What's the most recent surprising enemy you guys had to face? The frog, right? But then all of a sudden you have to deal with chopsticks. We've never done that before. Right? Then you think back event to event. Giant robot that spams you rockets from out of nowhere. Fucking sandcastle guy zapping at you. Right? I don't know why people don't talk about this enough when they talk about the combat of like Enfield or what they are hoping for. But they need to. I just kind of want to get everybody to like zoom out a bit. You know, let's not yes care about the characters, but can we also put a bit of emphasis that we do want to see a bit of that AK thing into it? AK yes, okay. AK does not, you know, have full original characters. There are reskin characters as well, where it's like the normal soldiers get reskinned, right? Or like the normal wolves get reskinned, the creatures, the slugs get reskinned. You know? But slugs getting reskinned is like, you know, the yellow to red slug, okay, that's a reskin. But original slugs that explode is not the same as a regular slug, right? And then the interesting thing about the doggos is that the first doggo you see in the game feels like nothing, and then all of a sudden you get a second doggo in the game that bites you super fast, and it suddenly hits different, right? This is what I need. Like, not just in a whole different design. I need that tactic. So the thing that I always never understood was how the whole dodge complaint came in. Correct? And then afterwards, the whole conversation about, oh, why do we need to dodge and whatnot? Yep, there are some enemies that honestly attack you so quickly or attack you so hard that you want to dodge. But you know what's the problem? Topo didn't mention this. There's two enemies already in the beta that doesn't let you dodge. Is it a surprise to you guys? Especially those of you who never played. One of the enemies specifically state he will deal a double attack. So because he deals a double attack, the thing is you cannot dodge. You need to figure out when is he going to hit you, and you got to get away from him. Because if he double attacks, he will just hit you. You cannot evade it. There's a second one, which is the bird, which inflicts the smoke. And when it inflicts the smoke, you can't dodge, you can't dash. And that feels shitty. Right? So, yeah, I just find it pretty odd. Certain enemies want, like, there are certain enemies that wants you to fight them close range. There's also certain enemies that wants you to be in a distance. And then certain enemies want you to dodge them a bit more, and certain enemies don't. So it's not like you can dodge everyone. I don't quite understand why are we so freaking out about, oh, dodge will solve everything. When the current state of the game doesn't let you do everything. The game does not allow you to have a single solution to do every single enemy. Right? That's why I say there's a whole variety of things you can do. Yeah, you can consume items all the way, yes. But what happens if you suddenly get an enemy that says, oh, SP recovery down? Right? Some of you might say, oh, do the whole arc-like thing. You know, but there's only so much you can do. Right? Or that you might get an enemy that suddenly says you have no stamina. Then all of a sudden, all your running days are gone. Right? The thing I find about Enfield is they're trying to do as many mechanics as possible that on the surface level it looks like a so what, right? If you think about the basic mechanics we have in AK, DP, SP, skill cooldown, skill time, whatever the attacks are of that skill, right? Your positioning, the direction that you face, the deployment order, right? These are like the little gears in your head whenever you're playing an AK stage. But what about the gears that are in Endfield, right? Oh, I can dodge. I can try to feed myself certain items. I could use some placeable items like towers, or use maybe some throwables in order to help me in that stage, right? Then of course I have my skills that I can use. I could jump, which jump doesn't have enough of a significance now, but who knows if it will have a significance later in the game. But you see what I mean, right? No, I agree. The problem is Snowshine. Will Snowshine ever get negated with the parry? That is something I'm curious by. But of course, Snowshine will technically get killed if there is an SP recovery down. Right? So that's the thing. Like, these are all basic fundamentals, but you can't do that to every enemy. So doesn't it just becomes a form of tacticality, where you're forced to then suddenly do things that you're not used to because an enemy is suddenly not telling you to do it? Right? Enemies in the game is not very basic. That's the thing I'm quite confused by. They look basic. I'm gonna agree with that. The enemy design, where they started with the whole Angoloid thing, is a little bit boring. But the way that they do fight you at the current state of the beta is, honestly, I find it pretty promising. Like, if they just follow the AK way of designing enemies, like, you have to think about this. This is chapter 1. Or maybe you can say this is chapter 1 to 4 of AK. What was the only thing that engaged you in chapter 1 to 4? Camouflage enemies. Right? And it doesn't look so impressive, but you just give it a wow. Literally, in the next event of AK, what did we get? Twilight of fucking Wolomonde. Twilight of Wolomonde immediately stunned the shit out of all of us when it happened, didn't it? All of a sudden, we need to charge towers everywhere. Right? Now imagine you have to do it. Enemies are hitting you. All of a sudden, you got to keep slamming on the tower in order to help you. The golem is going to one-shot you and pong you. You get what I mean? Yeah, chapter 4 at Cole. But Cole wasn't so significant till chapter 6. But you'll see my point, right? Like, I just don't understand why people are so quick to judge the Enfield combat when it's just like, it's a fucking beta, guys. You will get that challenge. You're talking about Hypergrave here. They care about challenge. They are literally the sadistic people that gave us CC. What makes you think they don't care? So, yeah. No, yeah. Oh, wait. By the way, there is no Bomberman yet in Enfield. Because, like, if you all know how in the early chapters we got original slug, right? Then, of course, later on we get some variants where if they die within your range, they will explode. It's not there yet in Enfield. But if you think about it, if it's there, what's the problem? You can't use melee units, can you? You have to be using range, right? If you think about it. But it's not in yet. You see what I mean by, is that not tactic to you? I feel like tacticality does not come from just a character's kit. It comes from what the enemies does. The weekly game had a modifier where enemies explode on death. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't get the modifier before. But now imagine it's in the normal enemy. Right? Or you might get situations where enemies, like you enter a stage and the enemy is not in your ground level. The enemy is elevated. You can't reach them. Is that not tactic? Right? I think tacticality, the whole conversation of is there strategy or tacticality must be expanded. Is the whole point I'm trying to get. This is what I will probably be saying when I make a whole, video part about combat. Do you get a variety of operators to start the game? We don't know. That's why I need to wait for on release. So yeah, isn't that triangulos? Triangulos can be melee. Triangles, yeah, range is preferable, but it can be melee. There is no there is no true enemy or stage design that range is forced yet. So yeah. So I don't know, it's a big thing to mention. It's a good hacking point about the enemy.
That's a good
It's
effing
just a thing,
point
yeah.
about the enemy.
Last thing to mention. Okay. Now implement. I feel so harsh. I'm sorry if you guys think I hate Genshin, but maybe I do. Now imagine Genshin enemies in AK. So your Genshin 3D enemies translated into AK. So you can use your AK skills against them. So what's your meta gonna be? Murmur stun, murmur slow, disable them, frighten them. They can't do anything, right? The enemy design won't be the enemy design fundamentally won't do much. Or lots of DPS, sure. Just pick all the highest damage numbers, right? A lot of the enemy design in that you see in other games won't quite work in AK, right? I just find that it all comes together. The way that things play out is what we need to talk about when we say what do we want in a combat. So yeah, this is a giant topic, honestly. Some parts are gonna be very hard for people to listen to when they hear me talk about it, because I'm gonna be telling them things like alpha was honestly really bad. But yeah. Um so yeah. How about Wuwa the normal and elite enemies look like? Are they good in terms of their traits? I don't have an answer. I don't play Wuwa. You guys will have to tell me. Like, let's not say okay, we don't overly praise AK. What's the next best gacha game that has good enemy design to you? Enemy design, not character design. Let's go with that. Do you have an answer? Like enemy design where you see new content, you enter, damn, that is fun. Oh my god, all of you are saying Limbus. You know, I'm not saying reverse. Yes, reverse. I like all the new bosses. From gameplay or vibe, you can say both. No, you're like Limbus bosses. Oh, I'm actually fascinated. I should play Limbus. You guys are not gonna say Wuwa or Genshin. Wuwa or Genshin don't give you that feeling. Where, oh, we're in a new region, new enemy. Like the new enemies don't actually surprise you. No, I have zero liking to HSR bosses. HSR bosses are so fucking boring. Interesting. But okay. I mean, yeah, then a lot of us will say that AK enemies are very interesting. So that's just the whole point. Get AK's enemy design into Enfield. The game is you see, no matter if it's okay, this is irregardless of whether it's the slow down combat or the fast combat. When you get that in this game, trust me, everyone's gonna love Enfield. Everyone's gonna like that. Wait, oh my god, I'm playing a game. To me, that is the whole point that people are gonna feel if they try this game. If we get that whole same AK vibe into this open world game, that you finally need to think, you finally need to adapt. You can't just do button meshes. You gotta be very certain what you are trying to do when attacking certain enemies. So yeah, all right. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna cut down the combat. If I want to talk about this again and I'm filming this, then I'll get to here. Oh, I just realized I didn't take half an hour. I mouthed over this for 1 hour. Told you that combat is the most annoying to talk about. Um, let me get to replayability, which means why would you keep logging in? So this is a challenge for them to figure out, because who's to say that we must have another roguelike mode? It doesn't have to be roguelike. It's just any sort of game mode that makes me not mind logging in and playing it over and over, right? Without feeling forced to play it. But because I want to pass my time with it. right? Lots of us like to play games because we just want to pass our time. Yes, the tower defense game mode, but it's not very good at the moment. It definitely needs work towards it. A daily stage mode where there's the rates. The rates really need to be improved, I feel. Because it's very weird at the moment. Put the tower, run around, and then I'm stuck in a single position. I can't even fill up all the things. So I think this is the last thing I might even think about. Because to me, right, replayability takes a bit of a genius. And I think Hypergriff is that genius to like they've already done it in AK. They've given us tons of game mode. Not everybody likes every game mode, but most of us like at least one, right? We like at least RRA or IS. Or some of us are even looking forward to Stronghold Protocol coming back. Or we might even say, I like SSS, right? Or I just really love to play every EX and S stages. We all have our preference to what is the type of content we like to play, and that's the thing I need to see in Enfield. That I need to see that level of, let's spice it up. This, to me, is a bit of the pride of an AK player. I need them to do this to punch the competitors in the gacha space who have done nothing to make things interesting. So, yeah. All right. Like, I need to see some innovation in the 4-player gameplay space. Shock me and tell me how different I can play a 4-player game. So, yeah. I'm not gonna say too much for this. Okay. World exploration and story. I have a few pointers that I will probably be putting towards this. As far as possible, I don't want to be guided. But it's my personal preference. Okay? My explanation for this is this does happen in the current base game. So I asked you guys about the Genshin and War thing before in the previous stream. And one of the things that I feel an open world game should have is it's all about discovery. If I really want to be handheld, it can be an option, but I will never play an open world game in a handheld manner. That is like, if there's secrets all around, I want to have the feeling of finding them, right? And one of the things I also want to see is I don't want all the quests to already be like, oh, you have leveled up, now you can do this quest. I don't want that sort of nonsense. I want it to be, I'm running around one of the, working areas where all the NPCs are. I speak to an NPC and all of a sudden they're like, oh no, I've lost my kid. Help me find my... You get what I mean? And then like, you're suddenly running into finding his kid. And then you realize it opens up into a whole bigger quest of like, oh shit, there's a big story behind this. Right? Like, yeah, I want the quest to come in naturally, just like how you play an actual open world game in certain, full games, right? You don't get all the quests already lined up for you. You end up realizing there's this, there's that you can actually play. I think that's the true way of enjoying an open world. So one is let it be unguided, for quests, for secrets, for story bits, right? Let me find ways to go and pick them all up. Is one. Then when it comes to the story itself, I mean, it's not much that I can comment on story, right? Just do us a good writing. There's a difficulty where because I've read several of AK story, then some people were saying how they want the AK vibe in Enfield, and yeah, I agree. Enfield starting story, honestly, it was better than chapter 1 to 4 of AK, but I can agree with some people who say it might feel a bit similar because it's a bit like, I think I said this towards the end of my review. Why am I suddenly seeing a random antagonist appear, which her name is Lucia? You all might have seen it from Frostlight video because he posted it recently. I saw that moment and I'm just like, that's the only time I see her in the game. I don't even know who the hell she is. Or like, even the various antagonists that we've seen and then we suddenly kill them and I'm just like, I barely know you. Am I supposed to feel sad that I just killed you or something? Like, what is a Triangulos? I get that Triangulos is like one of the bigger beings amongst the Agaloy, where, yeah, you'll see a lot of... You're probably going to see a lot more Agaloy-like bosses, but it's also a bit like, eh? So it's very much like I need a bit more significance to the various characters that we're meeting. And Enfield feels a bit too serious. I did mention before that I feel like the thing that doesn't help is the first person you meet is Perlika. Like, I think Perlika's fine as a character, but the fact that you had to sit with her entirely is like having Amiya in your ear. Which again, Amiya is also like okay. But God, I don't know if that's good as a start. You know? And like I need those banger stories of like good stuff happening. You personally want it to be more serious? No, I want it to have serious themes. But I don't want it to feel so serious. You know what I mean? Like, I've read the recent Yu story as well, right? Yu story is very fun going. We had goated NPCs that makes it very chill, very homely. But then towards the end of it, the theme is in truth very serious, right? The idea of reunion that is often discussed within that story. So I need that as well in Enfield. It's just very boring, sourceless, and not compelling. Yeah, I don't feel importance towards anybody in the current form of the story, where it's like I don't even feel importance to my own role of building the base. Strangely, I felt more importance when I see the outpost level up, where I'm like, oh wait, I'm doing something for the people of this land. But the story doesn't give me that feeling, you know. So it's not something I feel I can advise though. I can only just trust that they figure it out and make it interesting for us. I should at least finish first main story up. No, that's not an issue. The game launched with chapter 0 to chapter 4. I'm playing the game for all the main story I can read. And that is the way I can like if I care about story so much when I first started playing AK, and I don't really care about the gameplay, you can imagine that's the part that determines whether I still play or not. It's the same thing here, right? If Enfield is only going to present to me first region and a little bit of the second region when it launched, damn, if I'm here for the story, I'm gonna think the rest of the stories ain't gonna be good. Right? Oh yes, and I also enjoyed the side story more than I enjoyed the main story. So like the Angelina storyline and the Wolfguard storyline that I saw, I thought that was a lot more fun than what we got to see in the main story.
Yo, everybody.
Yes, hi Fire Monkey. Chapter 04 sucks. So how can I say it should be as serious as AK? What does that mean? I'm not understanding. You mean like how can it match the vibe of AK's current standard when it's just starting chapters? HSR did fine, you know, and no, I didn't like Uwa start. ZZ did fine as well. Just it's yeah, seriousness is not the word. Make me feel attached to the game. I need things that makes me feel like I'm looking forward to the next thing I'm reading or listening to. Right? The trouble I find with oh no, but there's a good thing about the Enfield story that I need them to maintain. I really wanted to keep the mission vibe. That one is good. Where they kept doing the terminal and stuff. I mentioned it to you guys. It has a very RTS game feel of like, oh, commander, we have a mission. You know, you need to do this, right? The mission brief is one of the best part. You know, that they need to keep. You mean having emotional attachment to the story or character? Both. I do think when you talk about story, emotional attachment is always a big factor that you need to consider. Because otherwise, why would you still read on the story? You know, like I wasn't emotionally connected to Tata, right? It really felt like the way Tata was written is for you to like be one with Tata, right? But I didn't quite feel it. No, it was the robot. It was that diamond shaped robot, right? So when Tata, this is a spoiler if they keep this part of the story. But when Tata died, I'm just there like, oh, alright, you're a robot. I think I'll heal you next time. No, I was just there like I don't feel single significance. Like if it was a character that died, I would just be like, oh fuck. Okay, let's get serious. I'll never see her ever again. You know? But yeah. You do hope that the characters can have more than one story quest. Oh, I hope they do as well. You know. He came back to life or something. Yeah, exactly. Tata came back to life later on. So I was just like, oh, you died and you lived again. Well, that happened. Good for you. So yeah. Uh let me consider. I actually don't have much improvement comments for world exploration though. I think the world exploration part is already pretty good. But I this is hard for me to say what the actual solution is. But as far as possible, I hope the world will be just a bit more inviting for you to be a part of. I'm fine with the Enfield base looking the way it is. But Hongshan only showed us one map. So I really want Hongshan's like second or third map to show me what could even be an established city. The funny thing is that we're conquering the place, but yet at the same time, there's already establishments. So to me, having establishments in it's called Talos, right? Yeah. Having establishments in Talos too isn't so much a bad thing. Like in the case of the Enfield base, we saw the whole shopping street. It's a small shopping street, but it's still like, oh, there's a vibe to it, right? But I want something bigger than that they could try to do. So they can stick with this whole sci-fi-ish place, but I want to see like a good place to like hang out. So the first place that we went in Hongshan was literally just a mountain, like a mountainous region. It was pretty, don't get me wrong, you know, the cool little towers everywhere. But once we get to the next map, I really want them to like show me a good comfy place to be in. You know, because you know like how in our own real life we think about, oh crap, I need to go to work. This is my workplace, right? The thing I fear about the very first region of Enfield is, yes, this is your office, this is your workplace. But then you think about it, that's not what you really want to go back to when you log into a game. Actually, is that my own quell when I play Z? But the thing is, ZZ is not quite that. Your workplace is your home. Yeah, but you get my point. I want some really, really good places to go to. World exploration seems seamless. Having more options to travel. Or having more options to travel is a controversial one. Because it's like, in what way? You know? Wait, why do you need more options to travel when you have zip line? Now that I think about what you asked. Right? But I want vehicles. I just always think vehicles is cool in any game. Vehicles never go wrong. Give me a motorbike. I remember jumping around on the car, like this like construction car. I was like, let me in, let me in. It looks like I'm meant to drive it. The quest let me drive it. But then when I came out of the quest, I cannot ride it. And I was so pissed that I don't deserve to ride a car. So yeah, a bike in the open barren wasteland is really good. So yes, don't give me flying. However, if you want to give me flying for specific characters, I may not fault you. So let me know if you all think this is nice or not. Let's not make climbing a thing for everybody to do. Okay? But what if certain characters are, they have a story background and they can climb, right? And then the character can actually do that. No, but then it becomes a problem of that I say about Acheron, where Acheron's the only character that can kill mobs before you actually enter. Right? It becomes a bit character exclusive, no? Right? Movement power creep is so funny. So yeah. I know Final can do that. I was told by you guys after many years. It's like how Genshin needs Yellen to run. Genshin also, no, it's not Genshin. HSR also has small characters. right? I don't know if small characters need to go to small spaces. I haven't played it in a while, but yeah. Genshin got a lot of shit locking exploration features. Oh no! They should not do that. That's for sure. No matter what the characters can do, they can't lock cat. They can't make it such that, oh, you can't get an item because you don't have a character. That's pretty dumb. No, but the thing is, like, you know how Angelina can fly? Let me explain this part, because we already have Angelina in the game, right? Angelina inherently can fly. We all know that in AK. That's what her thing is. I kind of wouldn't have mind if Angelina just flew around in Enfield. You get what I mean? Is that called movement power creep? But it feels weird, right? It's like when you see a skill and then you see a story, it suddenly becomes, but you deserve to fly. But the flight shouldn't be a case where, yeah, I don't know. You see, add a free alternative for exploration queue. Well, should get tired using arts all at the same time. Yeah, true. Mm. All right. Would that make the zipline thing work kind of meaningless? Yes, it could. Zipline is a very funky thing in the game at the moment. Yeah. I might not. You know what? There's a huge chance that this deserves an opportunity for a video. Gacha deserves an opportunity for the video. And combat deserves an opportunity video. I think these are like the three biggest aspects that really needs discussion within the game. Right. I might put cosmetics with gacha actually. Because gacha is about payment. Right? Free to play, pay to play. That might be what I wanna put it in together with a video. I actually don't have as much to say about world exploration now that I think about it. Because I don't really have anything I want to advise to improve. I thought the world exploration was pretty okay in Enfield. Like, I was very heartened. I love seeing all the different places, all the places I can get material, and then to pick up lore bits and read it and like, ooh, I wonder what's going on here. So yeah, I only have nice things to say. I don't have anything that I feel are important for people to say. So yeah. Okay. I leave it as that. Mm, you know what? I might want to film this now. I think this is a good one to talk about first. Because it's literally what Enfield is branded for, base building. Right? The Xiang spaceship should get rid of all the base of AK. Oh yeah, I should be talking about Xiang spaceship if I'm gonna talk about base here. Right? Xiang spaceship is in a very awkward place if you think about how they're doing base in all the different parts of the game. Right? Okay, wait. Opinion on how they told the story. Boring. Acceptable, but boring. Acceptable because the thought in my head is just it's just the first story. Should first stories always be of acceptable standard? No, but yeah, it was just okay. All right, okay. Please keep the AK way of buying skins that you can get in the game. We'll talk about that later in a bit. Okay, I will take a short break in the sense that if you all have any random questions you want to shoot me with, you want me to ignite a 10-minute, 20-minute combo, I'm okay. But then once I'm done with this short break, I'm gonna drill in on this very aspect of the game, and you guys will see me filming it. Okay? But I need a toilet. Yeah. Okay, guys, chat. Let's go. What weird questions do you have that you want me to ask? Oh, answer. Sorry. It's gonna be a critic that no one thought. No glaze on exploration. Let's not glaze anymore. I don't see the point of glaze. Like, imagine I glaze and it doesn't turn out in the game. Reverse glazing. When's Endfield gonna release? I can't answer that. How long does it take to finish Enfield launch? Here's my answer. How long does it take to develop Enfield? I don't think AK players understand. Enfield has not taken the same development time that AK has. Or at the very least, from when AK said they are gonna make this game to when the game launched. I don't think people realize AK took more than 3 years to launch. Like the first time when they decided to put out the first concept video, I think it was 3 years before. Like, I think it was in 2016 or 2017. But you know when the game launched? It was 2019. So like when everyone kept rushing and saying like, oh, Enfield was talking about it in like Enfield's first mention was what, 2023, correct? And we're in 2025. You know, we haven't even gone beyond the timeline that AK had. So I don't get why are we all freaking out. Enfield was in 2022. Even if it's the same as AK, you're comparing 3D development to 2D development as well, right? So yeah, you know your heart it releasing in 2026. You're hoping for uh I'm a bit ambitious to say I think they'll release it end of this year, but I also think it might be early next year instead. I don't think it will be past the middle point of next year. Like, even if they do another beta test, whatever the case is, my personal feelings is they should be releasing it anywhere from November to May of the coming point. Cause the game is fine already. You know, if the game launched now, all I can say is it will be a decent game. Like, the current game state is just decent. It's not amazing. It's not revolutionary just yet. You know, and the fact that it's now the next phase it needs to take is from decent to amazing. That wouldn't take as much time. You know, as long as the fundamental stuff of the game is getting around there. So, yeah. Do I think they will line up the release with AKNE? No idea if they will line up or not. I would say no, they won't line up because if they do it on the exact same date, that would be very bad for their company. Imagine the stress that they're gonna have, right? Because if you think about ZZ, HSI, and Genshin, their anniversaries are also very different, right? It's like different high times for their office. You know, let's at one at a time care about each anniversary to do. So I wouldn't think that they will match like CN's anniversary at the very least. Like they won't do it in May. If they do it in May, I'll be shocked. Is Yosa the publisher for Endfield? No, Griffline is the publisher. What is the game that I played with the best storytelling that I've ever seen? Best storytelling of a game. Indie games. Okay, not an indie game. Let's think about it. Uh, huh. Wow. If you tell me of stories that I really loved, I'm still a Danganronpa fan. I'm a diehard Danganronpa fan. Danganronpa was great to me. Danganronpa made me cry. Story of storytelling. I like both AK and reverse, but I think they're very different in terms of the reading or viewing experience. I haven't played Disco Elysium. I wonder if I'll like Disco Elysium. Yeah. No, but I've not played that many like story-based games as well, I feel. Yes. Bastion is a good story. No, Bastion does not have a good story. Bastion is just there for the fun. Bastion is an okay story. Although, wait, have I completed? No, I think I completed Bastion. Yeah. So, yes. Oh, my collab wish list for Enfield. I don't really want to think that far. Let me not think about it for a year. If Enfield has a collab in 1 year, that's crazy. Did I ever play Hades? Yeah, I like Hades. But no, I don't like Hades for story though. I like Hades for gameplay. Yeah. Wait, why are all your questions not Enfield specific? I was just gonna like tune out, take a break, and not like think about my scripting and see whatever Enfield questions you all have. I guess you all have heard everything about Enfield from me. I saw some of you giving me questions even just now. Actually, if there's any unanswered questions, because I left you hanging also, now's a good time to ask it. Because I'm gonna only talk about base from this point of the video. Oh, sorry, of the stream, sorry. Oh wait, I did like Bioshock as well. Thanks for mentioning Bioshock. Yeah, Bioshock was a fun one. Have I mentioned my concerns about the Enfield gameplay? It's the combat. Yeah, and the way I've expressed it is I personally have no concern. Genuinely. I'm actually least concerned about the combat. I'm the complete opposite of how Tobo puts it. Because I'm like, you're freaking out over a beta content that has already shown you they will care about enemy design, they will care about your unit design. So I don't know what you're freaking out over. I'm more concerned about story than I would be of combat. Because I think story really needs to sell. Right? A lot of the reason why people play ZZ or HSR is still the story. Right? Most of them are still sticking around because they say, oh, I really love this character, I can't leave them. You don't get that in AK. You don't get a situation of, oh, I really want to still keep playing AK because like of course people like the design of the character, but not so much for the character story. There's enough people in this game who love Taunts, love Elysium, love Surtur, but they know jack shit about what they are. Is that black and white text like Kenshin or Enfield? Don't know. If there was, I can't remember. How about monetization? Do I think it's good to discuss before game launch? Oh, it would be. Yeah. It's fine to discuss about monetization. Because this is why I want to mention it. The whole point about this gacha part, right? This is actually gacha and monetization. Or free to playability. Like if I tell you what, yeah, I think this will be 3 videos. Okay, I'm gonna split it into 3 very big topics. Because the part about gacha is I think people are overly freaking out over what the beta is because one, the beta has to be calibrated for everybody to get the maximum experience out of it. So free to play rates are high, you know. Gacha banner is guaranteed, but who's to say it will still be guaranteed when the game releases, right? So like, it's an anything can happen situation. But if anything, we can try to base by from us as an AK player is what has AK done well, and can we see the same in Enfield? That I think is the important conversation that people should have. And same for monetization. So okay, let me talk a bit about monetization here. Like monthly card pricing. Monthly card pricing is the same in every game though. I think the part that is more interesting is you know how AK have packs, like packs that you can buy every single season, and the packs are actually pretty fun for you to buy, right? Like selector ticket. Imagine selector ticket in Enfield. Let me just say that. You don't see this shit in Genshin or WoW, I think. So now let me ask you that. What if you get a 6-star selector in Enfield, 1 year's time, first year anniversary immediately, every 6 months after that, they start selling selector ticket. You don't think they'll have selector ticket in Enfield?
Cocky bro.
I think they will. I genuinely think they will. It's a matter of when. Because the thing is, the people who want copy can buy. can get a copy, right? They don't have to spend on pools. The people who don't have a character can also get the character. So yeah, I selected ticket is one thing, material packs is another thing, right? And packs being sold seasonally, where it's a lot more worth to buy them as compared to like, just buying straight off from the currency, right? I don't think there's a lot of packs. Okay, I don't know about Uwa, but I'm pretty certain for Genshin. Genshin doesn't do like seasonal nonsense. Maybe in recent times they tried, but I don't know if it's impressive. So that's for one. Another thing about monetization is like skin or accessories that you might do within the game. Skinning in a 3D game is definitely always very tricky because you have to remodel a lot of things, and I don't know if Hyperglyph is up to that. But if they do, it would be fantastic because it's just like AK. Then the question is, do you do it paid or do you do it with OP? You know, so I wonder if like uh they can mimic the same system where the primes that you get in Enfield, maybe they're just a much higher price, not the same 18 OP because 18 OP is accessible, right? But it could be at a price point for the OP where it's actually pretty high, right? So some free to play players can feel good about, oh, I saved and I really like this character. This is the character I want to give skin for. And then for people who want to collect the skins, if they want to pay, they can do so. Correct? As long as there's a free to play parameter, I think that would just surprise anybody. So yeah. Um that's my thought towards monetization, really. But very concerned about the free to play stuff. Also, I'll be honest to say one more thing. I hope, okay, it's a dumb hope, okay? But the daily quests and the weekly quests, I don't want it to be too overbearing. It should be insanely fast to complete the daily quests, I feel. A game that promotes itself for automation, I feel weird if the daily quest takes any longer than 10 minutes. Right? Like, I thought this whole game was about I can get my materials when I get in. Why must I be online for 10 minutes? Like, can you be okay if I just check in and get out? Honestly, I might even say if no check in, even better. I do personally feel that I will be shocked if any gacha game in our modern day is comfortable about not doing a daily check-in. They are all scared, for sure. You know why? Because they want the numbers. They want to be able to tell their investors and whatnot, hey, we've got this number of people logging in every day. It's a way to force you to feel like you have to do it. But if any of dares to not do it, wow, I'll be amazed. And I don't think that will happen. Yeah. Oh, but dailies give pool, exactly. So it's also to incentivize the free to play. In beta, you can do them in under 5. Actually, yeah. You could in under 5, I remember. But of course, I never only played for 5 minutes. I played way more than that all the time when I log in. Yeah. There's no way if we already know that they have a battle pass. Do they have a battle pass in Enfield? Can't even remember. Oh, they didn't. They didn't have, right? Do I want to have a battle pass? No. Just give me good packs. Don't give me battle pass. Just do packs. Keep it to AK style. So yeah. Wasn't there in the beta? I don't remember. I don't remember seeing like a sequence line of rewards in beta. Oh yes, and change the goddamn original farming. Don't put it to that freaking mode. No one's gonna want to play a long ass mode all the time. Don't like if they revamp that mode and it feels like it's truly a replayable thing, cool. Give me that whole IS reward system for the what the hell was it called? Algorithmic memories or something? Yeah, but give me a different way to farm pools. So yes. Reverse 1999 battle pass are good. Uh no. I don't the rewards are good, but just sell it in a pack. Like I'm annoyed whenever like a battle pass says, "Oh, do this task, do that task, complete this." Like I just never ever enjoy that in general. Battle pass is even worse than daily login. Does Envy have Claymore? Of course, yes, it does. Okay, all right. Wait, let me respond to a friend's message. Okay, I've responded to a friend's message. All right. My matcha is definitely gonna wear off, so I don't know how long I can be awake for this one, but I'll see. All right. Okay, for today of filming the review, base deserves to be a first video to talk about, I would think. So let's resolve this and like see fully what I want to mention from here. Okay. So if you all wanted the opportunity to talk about other things, you may have missed your chance, and then you have to wait till I film that. Speaking of packs, are there level up packs in AK in Enfield? We don't see anything paid because it's a beta, so you don't know what packs they would actually sell, or even if they would sell packs or not. These 3 videos we get beta, they're all outdated. No, I don't think whatever I say will be outdated or not. It's just you could do this, you could do that, you know. Okay, yeah, I do want to start off with the idea of, okay, you are building a base within the game, and why are you building a base within the game? And the thing is, if you think about how you play Wuwa in Genshin, right? When you are farming for your stuff, collecting things, you run around kind of like headless chicken every single day, collecting things off the floor, and going to dungeons all the time, repeating the same sequence over and over again. So what this game is trying to do is to remove that sort of repetitive sequence. Of course, one of the easiest way that Genshin can do it is if you clear it once, then you just automatically do it, like how we do it with Annihilation and SSS now. I don't know if they've done it already. I hope they did. But then again, when you do that, it also becomes like a bit mindless gameplay. Play once and then all of a sudden it's over. So in the case of the base over here, you would feel rewarded in a sense because like you learn about how to build a base. Then all of a sudden you see you can collect this resource, you can collect it automatically, and then the things that you want to be able to build from your base, whether is it the gear, whether is it things that you put around the world, it's going to be a lot easier by focusing on. So the thing that I would put is that more than 50%, or I might even say 75% of the materials in the game are farmable automatically to a certain extent, including LMD, which they don't call it LMD in the game. It's also T credit and EXP in the case of outposts. So T credit and EXP can also be farmed from a dungeon, but at the same time, they can also be farmed from doing a good base and then selling your stuff into the outpost, spending the credits for those materials. So basically, they do give you more than one avenue to get specific material that you want as well. I think I also mentioned this, that the manufactured items in a base, by the way. So you know how like the material of the base itself, you need all these like component stuff. I don't personally know if I want them to do this, but when you break random crates in the world, you actually also get those components. So the thing is, it's like such a silly video idea. But imagine me just making a random video of, could you build a gear just by breaking crates around the world? I don't know if that's an entertaining video, but as far as I've played, the answer is yes. You can actually don't build a base and you just break as many crates as possible, and you might just get enough to do a gear. Okay, but that's about it. A gear, at most 2 gears, which is not enough to feed all of your units. But if they increase the rate of it, I would be a bit surprised because it then becomes this situation of like, you have two options. Yeah, you either be min picker, where you just collect these things to get your material, or like do exactly as the game has taught you to do. You can automatically build it, right? So you kind of have a choice. So to me, I don't mind them increasing the rate to give the people who really say, oh, I want to avoid base, I just want to keep collecting chests all the time, to do that. And then afterwards, they can just convert those materials into gear whatsoever. All right. But yeah, the game does it in a way where it wants you to take away from mindless grinding and running around the world. So by building everything automatically, now once you're, boom, complete the base, explore the world, do all the side quests, do all the little things, and then play out endless modes, read more of the story, things like that. So that every login just feels short and fast. Or even better yet, because you're automatically farming in, you don't have as much stress about, oh, I need to get into the game every single day. If you want to tune up for a week, you got important meetings, you've got school to deal with. This game's gonna do that by doing so, right? You don't feel as hard of a FOMO in terms of like, oh, I'm behind on collecting all these sort of stuff. Another good thing about the game is that oh yeah, when I just realized something. At least I'm not doing it today, okay? But when you talk about the combat, I just remembered I need to talk about the attachments of weapon. Like, you know how Genshin has relics or like artifacts, I don't know what they call it. Uh, I'm not thinking straight. The thing that you attach to them. What the hell is that called? Relic, right? Then HSR has something similar. HSI has got essence. What's the thing that you keep trying to roll for stats for? War's Echoes, yes. Yeah, but in the case of it's called relic. Yeah. So they have this attachment that you can give to a weapon. And I Toby also doesn't talk about this, by the way. I thought the weapon attachment that AK decided to go for is the best idea I've ever seen.
Me and my homies hate relics/artifact
Because I think I was told by someone that it mimics something that happens in Monster Hunter. Yeah. It's a character game. No. They have it with the weapon. It's the ball. What the hell was the ball called? Essence. Okay. Yeah, I thought the essence was one of the best things that I got to see. Where that's the thing that you have to grind for, but you're not grinding it like re-rolling stats. Because even if the thing for it is that you're just trying to match and see whether it improves the specific skill that your weapon has. And then you can improve by certain bars. So even if you only have +2, then the next thing that you're working for is, can you find a +3, or +3, +4, to increase the skill even more, right? So it doesn't feel as painful per se, where you need like what the perfect gear is, which is you max level every skill, but you can slowly work your way to get there instead of like, roll a relic, throw this relic. Because you don't even have to throw the ones that you can't use. Eventually, it might fit another weapon that you get. So, yeah. You just like how the visual enhancement is easier. Yeah, basically. It has less layer of RNG. Correct. There's less RNG to deal with, and it's more enjoyable because you don't feel so bad about getting a supposedly weaker gear. You know what's the like. In the case of like HSR relics that I played, I feel like there is an ultimate and bestest relic to go for, but the in between. So like, let's say you get something that might be a good substitute, right? It's very hard to find a good in between from whatever you decided to pick to the best one. Yeah, but in the case of like the way that Enfield did it, it's very clear cut from a weapon with no attachment to the highest level of attachment. And you can fit anything in between. It's always just about let's go a bit higher, let's go a bit higher. So, yeah. And you don't ever need to like relic chase again. So you need to do it if you have a new weapon that they added. But for the very same weapon, a weapon doesn't need to have a different attachment, which is another thing that I think is pretty good. So I'll talk about that for combat when I go into that. But yeah, okay. Anyways, I diverted my convo. I'm now gonna still process my thoughts about the base, and you can listen to me ramble. Um. So yeah, the whole point of base is to let you focus on other important content. So of course that is a concern that they have. Now, I think this is the duality that I kind of have to mention, which is the feeling that people say that base building don't have enough sophistication of like, why am I doing the days? How this will help me? Isn't it such that at a certain point I stop? So one of the first things, I think this like I don't know if I'll say this first or do it as like a precursor, but I do hope that people understand lots of casuals are going to try this game. People who have never played base building before. No matter what you think is too simple, to people who've never played, this may not look too simple. But we want, as someone who enjoy that genre, we should allow these people who may even be our friends to pick up this genre and start playing it and be interested in it. All right. So the whole idea where the first region don't have as much mechanics, to me, is perfectly understandable. That you keep it a bit simpler. Then later on, second region, they start introducing like water mechanic. Third region, they introduce temperature mechanic. Fourth region, they give me Chongyue event, they give me double layer things. You get what I mean? So like, if they were to do it, then sure. But let's take our time as to doing it. All right. Then the good thing that I find about the current state of the game is that optimization is not a priority. All right. Base sweats will easily tell you optimization is a priority. And I think it's fucking bullshit because when I sit there, I'm just thinking, I have 10,000 of every material. I don't know what to do. Yeah. Gatekeep casuals, you don't need to cater to these people. A good game is going to sell itself anyways. Yeah, but a good game is also a game that knows how to guide these people. Right? So, yeah. So the thing is, I do hope that, okay, for one, I think the current state of the game allows for casuals to take part in a sense that optimization is not a requirement. All that you do by optimizing is you just get materials at a faster rate. But in truth, you don't need the faster rate. You, however, might end up needing the faster rate when you're trying to increase your world level. Because your world level, or if not in the game, they call it prosperity level, is dependent on your base and how much you've been serving that specific outpost. But the thing is, okay, in order to increase your world level, right, the first thing that you do, so for those of you who don't know this outpost mechanic, you try to, I could show my stream, but I have to find it. You visualize, I try to explain it best in words. Outpost is like a trader that you have in the game. So it's the people that live on that part of the map that you're working on. So when you first make contact with the outpost, what they want you to do is to get a certain number of items. Like let's just say, for example, 120 batteries. So the first thing that you need to do is to produce 120 batteries. If you don't optimize, so let's just say you're producing 2 batteries per, I don't know, 30. That's so hard to do. But yeah, 2 batteries per minute, right? So how long will it take for you to make 120? That would be 1 hour, right? If you're a mad optimizer, you make 6 batteries per minute. Then, wait, 2 batteries per minute, 120. I'm not doing the math right. No, I am. 6 batteries per minute. Oh, it's just 10 minutes. You can't count. 20 minutes, sorry. 6 batteries per minute, you need 120. A fully optimized base, you just need 20 minutes to get all 120, right? So again, no difference of whether you need to optimize or not. You will get to that goal easily with the outposts. Once you have leveled up the outpost changes into a constant trade. Where now they give you the option to trade, again, a specific type of materials, but now they don't have a maximum limit. They're asking you to give them 6 batteries every minute. Because they can only trade at a minute interval. That's how the game has done it. So if you don't produce 6 batteries in that minute, like you have none in your depot, they'll just wait. So they'll just wait for like another minute. So let's just say you're still at 2 batteries per minute, right? So that just means you trade every 3 minutes. The people who optimize the base are trading every minute. So for a casual player, a sort of disadvantage is that Outpost does give you credits that you can use to buy materials. It's also the thing right now in the game to buy gifts for your operators. So in the early part, a casual can say, oh, it's fine. But of course, once they start watching some YouTubers say, oh, you can make this phase so that you can quicken your outpost, then they will start copying. So that's a bit of a worry that I have. But if they don't sweat it, it's kind of okay for you to not like be trading at the proper pace, you know. But of course, those of you who are sweaty are going to get to that point. You'll figure out in whatever way possible to make sure that you match the speed that the outposts ask of you, and you can get the maximum credit every single day. Okay, this is the supposed end game of the base right now. In as much as the beta could show. All right. So again, another good thing about the outpost is if you fulfill their orders, you're getting materials for free. So again, that's another form of AFK grinding, right? Just meet their orders. You come back 1 day, 2 days later, you get all the credits. You just buy out the materials you want, which is pretty nice. You don't see that in any other game. All right. So this comes down to the thing where it's up to casuals, I think, to decide whether they want to learn more towards like optimizing that sort of base. But this is also the part where I would say I don't want them to have a blueprint. You know, people can watch a video, sure, but let that video be like something that teach them a guidance, or like they can see a big image and then they try to copy, sure. You know, but even if people try to copy one by one, I appreciate that a bit more than a blueprint because they will learn and then they might find certain joys towards it. I think the current tutorial system of the base is fine for people to like adapt and learn the stuff that they need to do. But in any case though, casuals have some form of leeway in a sense that they can find ways to enjoy and not feel pressured that they have to follow the pace of everybody. Okay? Now, let's talk about the base interest people. The ones that are saying, oh, I've already built a full base. I've used every space that I can. I'm feeding all my outposts at the maximum pace. Right? The problem now is I have nothing to build left. What should I do? Just put more electrical towers everywhere? Put more defensive tower everywhere? But no, the world map is limiting me, right? Because the world map does has a limit as to how many of certain towers you can place. So you can't exactly design your world just yet in the game, you know. And there's only so much stronger defensive stuff you can make, even if you build all the highest tiers. But that's it. That's the end of the line of what you can make. So that's the thing that I find that is a bit of a trouble, right? And this is the part where I'll bring up what Hyperglyph could do, where Hyperglyph can just not fulfill them, right? You don't have to do anything for base. Just understand every new region will give you harder mechanics, and that will fill your playtime when you're building the base. Oh, okay, fair enough, I guess, right? And then you just hope that all the other content that is not about base is going to be fun. But of course, that will not satisfy the real base interested people because some of them just really want that part of the game to be good. The second part is maybe you do something seasonal. You do like a little, I don't know, weekly mission, like a weekly outpost that has changing orders and not a constant one. That you're forced to like shift a certain amount of base. But the problem with shifting a certain part of your base is it's so annoying. Right? You have to redo the space you've already done. You don't even know if the new building city setup can fit the space you're about to remove. It is hella annoying to do it. So it's very disadvantageous as well to encourage people to change it up, especially if the current space in the base is small, right? There is very little incentive to change the bases that we have done, especially when we hit the end game. So this is kind of where I will step in to give a very AK-like answer. That is, you can make it such that this is like the regular content that you make, right? And then within this regular content itself, okay, you finish building your base, that's all there is. It's kind of like how we built our AK base as well, right? The current one in Arknights. You just level up all your dormitories, your factories, your trading posts, you just switch operators around. That's all the base is, nothing more, right? You won't retouch it unless you're switching 243 and 252. Whatever that is, it's not like it takes a long time to do it as well. So the suggestion I'm going to have is encourage a form of end game base where you can make it very challenging for the people who really want to play bases. So you can introduce a whole game mode where it's a stage by stage basis, almost like a campaign mission where in the first level, they have a set amount of time, build the base according to their conditions, do so within a time limit, maybe construct a certain amount of stuff, or not even do a certain amount of stuff. And then afterwards, have in between things where you have to fight enemies, using the things that you have made from your base. You completely unequip the gear of your units, or you don't give them weapons, I don't know, whatsoever that is, or don't have any consumables, right? And then make it such that everything in between your base building sessions is about needing all these things. So for the people who will be sweating about it, the people who sweat wants to feel the moment of like, oh, I need to hurry, there's a time limit, or like, what is the best way for me to construct this thing? So there is a game mode for them to do just that. And this game mode should be heavily updated in a way that it should also quickly introduce all the new things that they will be showing. So, like, I personally do hope that they implement like a very, very creative game mode that makes it such that it will not affect the things that you've already done in terms of your automated farming. But now you have base in the form of, hey, let's have raids that comes together with your base. It's not going to affect anything about your AFK farms. It's in a sense, like a hypothetical base that you have. Yes, it's similar to RA. It's similar to just a regular game mode. Could make factory focus events that give you a temporary new areas to build up. Yeah, exactly. And again, give me the AK flare. Don't make it such that people have to play it weekly or monthly. Do it IS style. Set a number of rewards. People complete it. Update it. DLC mode. That base game mode where new region comes in, I can add that in. Right? Or even so, even better yet, if you want to introduce new base mechanics only for that game mode and not in the main game, because you feel like in the main game it might stress the casuals out, but in this one you want to introduce new buildings or new things that we don't really need to use in the base game. You want to challenge the really base interested people. Yeah, go ahead. It'll be funny if the base building game mode has like roguelike elements as well, right? Like maybe we don't need belt speed to be faster in the normal world, because at a certain point you don't need that high of efficiency. But let's just say that in this game mode, yeah, efficiency is key. So maybe all of a sudden leveling up buildings or upgrading the belt speed actually makes sense, right? I think these are the kind of things that can really help to make it very, very interesting to play. So I don't know if they would do this, but in my own mind, I think this suggestion that I suddenly came up with is probably the sweetest idea that I can think of that is going to make it such that casuals still feel comfy, and all my base interested people will have a heaven of a time with the way that the base is in AK. A whole open land space for them to do whatever base they want and let it be attacked. So, yeah. And then also on the point of Jijiang spaceship, the Jijiang spaceship part, I'm gonna put it earlier, probably, because I want to say that it's in an awkward place right now, where if every material is automated, for what reason? Okay, the thing is, it's not true to say every item is automated, because like the rare materials that you can pick up from the ground, you have to zip line. That's the whole point of zip line as well, so that whenever you log in, you're zipping from one material to another, pick it up kind of thing. You don't want to be picking it all the time, because again, there's no point to get maximum capacity for all of them. But still, you will be doing it for a while, right? And you can also farm them in Dijiang. But the thing is, it's my spaceship. I find it very weird that it can't be automated. So, yeah. They just need to borrow inspiration from the popular factory building games on the market and their old flair to it. They're sitting on the gold mine of endgame content. Yep. So, yes. How much of a bad idea is base trials? Build a separate base to produce X amount of staff, A staff, and Y amount of B staff at a certain rate, teaching about how to make an efficient base. I think it's a good thing. No, that's the thing. So for a casual, right, if they can introduce a game mode where efficiency is key, like speed is key, right, then these players will feel the force of, oh, I need to do well. maybe they don't have the pressure of like, oh, it's a failure if you don't meet the timing. They can do it like 3-star, right? 3-star if you do it under this time, 2-star if you do it under this time, 1-star if you do it under this time, right? And then because there's a challenge element to it, then you realize that the people who are casuals will suddenly look at it and say, oh, but I want to get 3-star. And how do I do that? And then here's another thing. Just like how roguelike is a randomized game mode, this whole base building thing should also be randomized. So that people don't just follow like a YouTube tutorial and whatnot. You know, and in the moment feel like they can rush towards it. So yeah, that's kind of what I'll put. Okay, by the way, you thought I'm recording already? Oh yeah, it sounds like I'm recording. But no, I'm just finalizing what I want to say. I want to record, but I did predict this just now when I first started the stream. I told you guys that I had matcha. I think my matcha has worn out. You know, like how coffee hits you when the caffeine runs out. Matcha has caffeine that runs longer, but I think my matcha caffeine is starting to deplete in my body. So I'm feeling it. Maybe I won't film now, but I might film tomorrow once I'm back home instead. And then I can talk about it. I do want to go and ideate this and come up with more ideas. Here's something I suggest. Most of you, I would assume, are in my server. So we don't have to talk about too many components. Let's go with a bit of a flow. All right. So you guys have seen my own idea of how endgame could be interesting. If you guys have your own proposals or things you want to see, I suggest can you all use my AK Enfield channel. I will still be awake. Okay, I will read whatever you all say, or I'll read it when I wake up. Then you all will help me to think a bit more about what could be cool for the game to have. Because I do agree, I think the base building part should be fun. It should not feel forced. Okay, there's a few criteria. Let me just make it very clear. This could be helpful when you all think about what game design should be, right? It's a very AK thing. In the nature of us enjoying AK, one, our gameplay has never felt forced, right? Like need to play, need to log in, type of thing. Do it anytime, you know, or no need for the best solutions all the time, right? Then gameplay should not feel like a chore, which feels like the same thing, but instead be a fun activity. In this case, by the way, gameplay is referring to base building. You know, I think that's just the two premise, right? Just don't make it feel like people need to do it. Do it whenever they want. And if they are doing it whenever they want, it doesn't feel like it's annoying. It's actually fun to sit through it. So, yeah. Yeah, it would be great, right, if I have speed building base and then the only thing I need to build is like towers and whatnot. Oh my god, wait, I just realized there's a few interesting things that you can do as well. If you really build the base from scratch, you do this open world mode, and then afterwards you have mining areas. Then afterwards you have to wire it in. Also, if this is like a constant endless gameplay mode, then I think one of the things they will end up having to do is they need to save the progress of that game mode as well. So you imagine like they randomize an open land. Wait, I just realized something. Guys, my brain is shook. Like genuinely shook. This just hit me like a Shinkansen. What if they just do the base like as if, I mean, some of you are gonna say, Cookie, that's literally Satisfactory, or that's literally, what's the other game that you guys name? It's not Factorial, there's another one. Mindustry? Yeah, you guys might be saying that. They could literally make the whole, like a base building game mode, look like an RTS game. Like, you know how like in, okay, I'm a Red Alert player. As a Red Alert player, everything you do is like speed building, right? Power plant, barracks, tank, defenses, boom, boom, construct, construct. But then in the case of Enfield, because you need materials, right? So you need a place to mine those materials. You need to connect it to your base. Then you have to build it. Then you have to formulate it, right? Yeah, I think in some of those other games, you're basically building ammo to your defenses as well. So at one point, I was just thinking like, oh, you can set defenses for your own base. But then I just thought, if it's a randomly generated world, right? If you think about it, if it's a randomly generated personal base, why can't the randomly generated map also expand a little bit and tell you, oh, you gotta attack the enemy as well, but you got no gear. You see, your characters are empty-handed. Your characters are just leveled units with nothing on them. So you gotta build your base so that you're increasing your characters. Then by increasing your characters and then having your base defenses, can you get out of your base, go into your enemy's base, and then attack them? Like what I'm trying to say is you can't attack them without the gear because it's suicidal. You don't have the stats yet, right? But now you get there and then go. Like, oh, oh, that's so cool, right? It is a gold mine. Can I civilization? I don't want it to be PvP though. No, no, no. It needs to be PvE. It's like RA. RA is PvE. RA is not PvP. I don't want PvP as well. I'll put it as that. But it can be PvE where you just have a set enemy, a randomized enemy that you gotta get into. Yeah. Hypergraph might need to find a law to support that. Oh yeah. Stop projecting my fantasies on the Endfield. Yeah. Factory survival type of game mode where more you level up the factory, the more people you can recruit would be great. Oh my god! So you have like specific buildings. So you have your characters, but just like in IS, your characters first start at like E1. Then you must have your, I don't know, your barracks to be at level 2, level 3, so that your characters become E2. Wow! Hypergriff, you can hire me now. Actually, oh, this video needs to go, man. Here's the thing. It doesn't even need to be launched at the start of the game. They can just work on this idea and then open it up like 2-3 months into release. Right? It's fine if they don't do it, but it's just, bro, your base game mode could be amazing. Right? That just makes people want to rush base. No, it's not a permanent base. It's a new game mode every time. And it's the whole point is to rush base for the people who want to rush base, who want to feel the pressure of being a base fanatic. It's again, casuals can play and have fun with it. They'll learn it, but then it's meant to be a good replayable mode. So yeah, the insane potential. If you I wouldn't title it as that. So like reclamation algorithm of base. Yeah, correct. That's what it is. And a separate game mode, like I said, that is not influenced by the current world. No, I can tell you what the storyline will be. It's not that difficult, right? The Angeloi are always fighting. Yes, we'll conquer some part of the land, but then there's just happened to be another area within our first starting area that is very treacherous, right? So you start out in a certain part of that map, and then you gotta achieve things around. And if you fail your mission, then you just respawn and get a whole different map again. Or maybe you can restart, I don't know. So, yeah. Okay? Remember early intro, we were told to go to the north. Yes, we were. It's the same as in AK. Introduce a separate frontier idea where the area where the game mode is placed. Correct, correct. Just give us a whole region where we've never conquered before, and it makes sense why we keep having to fight people over there. Yeah. How about players that just want to speed run and just get their dailies? Yeah, they can. It's like IS. Whatever idea I just said is it's an IS idea. It's a separate game mode. It's a fixed set of rewards. Get it anytime. You're done with the rewards. Sure, you want to still play it because it's a fun game mode. Go ahead and play it. Right? So yeah, I think this is a nice way to not interfere with Just the base gameplay. Base gameplay as in the regular gameplay. So that's that. I'll film it tomorrow. Nonetheless. So yeah. Okay, once again though, if you guys want to tell me more about your own base set ideas, what you expect to see, even what mechanics you want to see, okay? If you guys are like all in on the whole I played Factorial Satisfactory before, tell me what you like about them in AK Enfield. I will read them. It will help me to ideate as well, and then let's try to make a bit of a video and see whether they can think about it tomorrow. Do I think my points will spark controversy? Hell no. I'm not making controversial. I'm not. I'm talking about something that no one's heard of. And it's not meant to give you a chore. Controversy is weird. You know what I'm saying is it's going to be controversial? The idea of a good end game to base and what an end game to base could look like without affecting a casual experience, I don't think it's that bad. So yeah. Okay. I'll go with this first. Let's do this base video. After we do the base video, we do the combat video. And then we do the. By the way, if Enfield releases way earlier than I think, then I don't have to do the gacha video. Because the whole point of the gacha video is to literally wait for the fucking game. Because this is the thing that I don't. The beta will never tell me if they're gonna do. Like, even if they have something that looks at the AK system, who's to say it will stay, right? But the combat is already the things that we can see, and yeah, I can talk about how things can be improved to give it the AK vibe. So yeah. So yes. Glitter, do you like my idea? Gotta see whether what all the CCs are thinking as well. We should all band together, figure something out. Okay, I think I'm done so with whatsoever that I want to talk about. Matcha has already hit the low now. 3 hour stream. It's kind of what I expected it to be. So yeah. Help me to steal resource from other players indeed. Alright. I'll be back tomorrow. I will film this and I will post it. Am I excited for CC? CC is tomorrow, right? I might not stream on day 1. I might stream on day 2. So, yeah. Okay. I need to sleep. I think my body is calling for a bit. So, I'll be back. We'll see you guys tomorrow. You feel like some content creators will see my video and twist it around? If they twist it around, they just never played AK before. So, yeah. Alright. Good night. Bye-bye. Bedtime. Boy. Hey, see you on AK Enfield for those of you who want to chat. Bye-bye. In my Discord.